What's good, everyone? This next guest has been featured in the New York Times because he is very, very controversial. No, he's a comedian. I guess he could be controversial. He's great. I love this guy. It's just so easy to talk with him. So much fun with him, and yeah, this guy. I'm a fan of his. It's fantastic. He is fantastic. My apologies to this next guest because I've been sitting on this podcast for like forever, and then it really sucks because he came all the way over to my place in Queens. He biked all the way over, and then we had a good time. Then I didn't upload this podcast forever, and then the content is getting getting a little dated, just a little dated. It's so bad. I'm horrible. I'm the worst. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this episode with the one and the only Misha Han. I'm so sorry, Misha. Hell yeah! I'm getting a boner just looking at all that.
Let me see if this...
Sets and everything. I love it.
Sets.
You're so organized. I love it.
No, I'm not organized. This is like there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
It's just recordings from it's from like 2010, 2009.
Yeah.
When I started doing stand up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice. Misha Han, welcome to the Tommy Danger Experiment.
Tommy Danger, nice to meet you.
Yeah, we're recording in my studio here, my apartment really here in Astoria. We got the video going, with the audio going. How you feeling, man?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said you took the city bike all the way over here?
Took a city bike.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by Lyft this time. You bike?
No, not really. I thought about it. I have a little foldable bike, a little foldy in my closet that's broken. I've been meaning to mix up, but every now and then I'll take a city bike. It's nice, but it's nice like once every other month kind of thing.
Okay.
I've done it. I rode it like 2 or 3 times in the summer this summer.
Well, you're like in a deep part of Astoria, so I feel like every time you bike, it's going to be like a trip.
It is definitely. But I've only been here in Astoria for 3 months now.
Oh, really? Where'd you move from?
From Sunnyside.
Okay, so even farther.
Yeah. Oh, Sunnyside was so much. I didn't realize how boring it was in Sunnyside until I came out here.
Really? This is the exciting part of your life?
This ghetto corner, kind of ratchety corner of Astoria is so exciting for me. It's too exciting. My Citizen app is popping off all the time.
Oh, you're one of those people that use the Citizen app?
Yeah, like I had to turn off the notifications. Like, I don't care if I have deadbolts on my doors. We'll figure out home defense later. I don't care what happens. The Citizen app is so annoying. Because when I was in Sunnyside, nothing happened. It's like a little old lady falls over in the middle of the road. That's about it, like once a month.
Yeah.
And I came here, it's like, hey, your building next door is on fire because some idiot left the stove on. I was like, I don't care. Like, stop it. Stop it, really, stop it.
You'd think that you would enjoy having like those pop-ups because during quarantine, nothing's happening. So this is like the moments of excitement, but you're already bored by that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm bored by the fact that I have this powerful handheld device that's telling me the world is coming to an end. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just on a binge. I'm watching Netflix. Leave me alone.
What are you watching on Netflix?
I have such a hard time staying focused on my entertainment. I've been trying to, let's see, what have I been trying? What's the last thing I've tried? I can't even remember what I've been trying to watch. But I'm always trying to get back on the horse with like Breaking Bad.
Oh, I've tried to watch Breaking Bad like 4 times.
Oh, were you and I on the same boat?
I've never been able to get past season 1.
Yeah, I have to get to the conclusion that the acting is great, the writing's okay, but it's not that
The
entertaining.
pace is just too slow
Pacing,
for me.
maybe. It's
I don't have the attention span.
Because I am like a kind of a numbers business geek, law geek.
Well, yeah, we were talking about you're an accountant.
Yeah. So when the part about the lawyer being introduced and talking about how they're like basically becoming criminal enterprise, that's really fascinating to me.
Okay.
So I like Ozark. I like Ozark a lot.
Yeah.
Just because it's Jason Bateman being Jason Bateman in like a very dark.
Stars being stars. That's really fun.
Yeah.
and it's perfect.
I've gotten past the need for plot because I've seen enough TV shows and movies where I've seen like a lot of permutations, so nothing really surprises me that much. I just like watching action stars be action stars.
It's like watching. It's almost like you watch the NBA. It's almost like these series are like teams, and we just want Jason Bateman to be who he is in a different team, quote unquote.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like we just want Jimmy Butler to be Jimmy Butler, but it has to be the right scenario.
I saw Kawhi in Breaking Bad. Now I want to see Kawhi in Batman, and then I want to see Kawhi in Ozark. Like that's
yes. Like Embiid will do so much better in like fucking Breaking Bad. You know, like he sucks right now in Ozark. He'll do so much better. Like he sucks right now, and
he's on 2.5 Men. It's like I feel like his talents could be used better. He's teaming up with Ben Simmons. It's just not a good chemistry match.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you just need a better coach, as in Dan Harmon and Rick and Morty. You know. Dan Harmon is basically like Greg Popovich, you know.
Oh, I love this crossover.
But that's you started off.
Okay, it's Tina Fey, Doc Rivers then.
You can't. No, that's so bad on Tina Fey. Tina Fey is so much better than Doc Rivers.
Oh, okay.
Tina Fey, what would Tina Fey be as a coach?
Tina Fey's equivalent? Is it Brad Stevens?
I think that's good. They're both relatively young, but still like have more to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Maybe just a tad. Tina Fey is like Coach Spo, Miami Heat.
Ooh.
Because Spo is still young, but he has hardware, and he's a legitimate like a geek for like he started in the video department.
That's a perfect.
Tina Fey started. She is a consummate.
That analogy I love so much.
She's a consummate writer and just a creative person. Like she just feels so happy.
Also, she's had stars come through her system, but then she's like rebuilt as well.
Beautiful.
Right, because she had Glover and like all those guys when they did 30 Rock, but then she had a completely different career. Yeah, with Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, she could become like the next Pat Riley in the sense that she's just like create.
Come on, Baldwin is Pat Riley.
Baldwin's Pat Riley. Okay, interesting. No, Baldwin is that guy's just.
They just look the same to me. That's all that is. That is they look great in suits, and I kind of don't trust them with my money.
Slick back hair.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna say your first name a lot of times.
No, Baldwin's more of a player than a coach.
Baldwin's like Dennis Rodman in the sense, he's just gonna get you all the rebounds. He's gonna get you all the characters. All the characters, he's gonna leave nothing on the floor. Like
to me, he's more Ron Artest.
Interesting.
Because you can't really trust him too much, but he will show up when you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Wild card?
Wild card.
Yeah. Game 7, 2010 makes that 3-pointer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Baldwin. That's really interesting.
That's hilarious.
Let's end this podcast right now. I don't think it's gonna get any
It's a pretty good riff. I gotta say,
fucking great riff. We're just both blown away. Wow, this is really good.
This is our first time hanging out.
I
don't think we've had a conversation before this.
I don't think so either.
What do you know about me?
I've seen that you're in this posse of Asian comics in New York City that I'm slowly unraveling.
All right.
Like I'm trying to get into this. Like,
who's in my posse?
Your posse,
or who's in the posse I'm in? It's not my posse, but who's in the posse?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure. I'm like, it's like a game.
My gang.
I'm trying to figure out who's ahead, and it's a whole mafia organization. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to map out, like in the FBI backroom. From what my chart says that in this Asian mafia comic in New York City, it's you, it's Trey, it's
Trey.
Entreat.
Okay.
Yeah. What is it? Entreat or Entreat?
I call him.
What do you call him? Asshole?
No, I just say hey.
I
think it's Entreat. Yeah.
Entreat, and who else? Andy Jang. You know Andy Jang, right? Are you guys
Andy
close?
We're not close, but we're not like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So
we're friendly.
I've got to make some chart organization adjustments there. How about Marcus Cardona?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah!
I like Marcus.
Yeah. Who else? I'm going to take is there anyone else as far as Asian comics go that I've been following? Who's
This is
Do you,
fascinating.
do you
to
know
me.
Brian Yang?
I know Brian Yang.
Yeah, that guy's funny. Well,
That's the first one that you've said. That guy's funny. Everyone else not funny in
no
your
one else
opinion,
is funny.
Tommy.
But
You hear
Brian-
that? He's calling all of you out.
I'm shitting on my.
Tommy, Marcus.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm shitting
Andy?
on my prior guests. Of
Oh,
my
you haven't had
podcast.
Brian Yang on yet.
I haven't had
See,
Brian
that's
yet.
why you're sucking up to him. All right, I see what you're doing. This is Tommy Danger. Watch out, because he's dangerous. He will throw you under the bus.
I'm Korean like that. I'm very petty. And I'm very shameless about it too. Do you know? Well, you've done some homework before you got here to be on my podcast.
Yeah.
What have you noticed? Some observations, anything?
Well, I
Or
watched.
do you know besides the names we mentioned? Do you know other people that I've interviewed?
I mean, I know Art.
Art Kai, of course. I'm sorry, Art. I forgot about you.
Man, he was just on a recent episode too, so
Yeah.
you really forgot about him
Yeah.
real fast.
Yeah.
Me and Art were roommates.
You really?
Yeah, from January to July.
What a small world.
I mean, not really. You're interviewing Asian comedians. There's not in New York
what
City.
a very not a small world, but what a very easy
Yeah.
world to. I'll be done with all the Asian comments by the end of this year.
I mean, if there's 52 weeks, you're gonna get through them sooner or later.
You guys were roommates for how long?
About half a year.
Nice.
Beginning of January to, or no, really February to.
Oh, this
August.
year?
Yeah, February to July. Yeah.
Oh, this year. Nice.
Yeah, we were quarantined together.
Nice.
He didn't mention me at all on the episode.
Maybe once.
Oh man, that's so rude. Art, I'm bringing you up like first 5 minutes.
I want to say he did, but him and I were just very into each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were like, and we got like, he likes to get deep. He was like asking me about my life experiences, and he did his research too.
Oh, he did his research.
Homie watched like a few episodes, like full episodes. And some of my episodes are like 2.5 hours, 3 hours
Oh,
long.
I watched a little bit of Cardona's episode too,
There
but I
you
don't
go.
remember what happened.
Yeah. We just struck each other off.
Nice.
But yeah. Cardona was really fun because I was picking his brain about how he enjoys comedy, but he just is also, I don't know how much he enjoys it, but it seems like he's enjoying the production part of it as well.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting, learning, educational.
I feel like this is a recap episode. This is the
We're just recapping all the.
you're gonna cut in clips from all the other episodes.
This is foreshadowing my death.
This is the episode that you play when you're like, okay, we don't have any new ideas, but we need to produce an episode. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
all flashbacks. Let
Yeah.
the writers take the week off.
I'm sorry, Misha. This is just a filler episode.
I understand. I'm a filler friend. You know, I make out I'm like the fifth person you invite to because you need someone for a basketball team.
Uh-huh.
Just
You're
like round it out.
You're like getting invited to a birthday party really late. Like, it's like
I'm a glue guy. Yeah, absolutely.
it's
Good
like-
chemistry.
oh, they invited me to the party, but there's already like 20 people confirmed. How is it? Oh, they just added me late to the list.
Yeah. Yep. I was last pick. Last pick of the friend draft.
So let's get to know each other. So we were just talking before we started recording. I'm from LA, and you're from
Hawaii.
Hawaii. There you go. Both from the west of the river, so to say. Born and raised in Hawaii.
Born and raised in Hawaii.
There you
Was
go.
there for until I went to college in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Emerson, a little art school in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Art school.
Yeah.
What kind of art were you studying?
Writing for TV and film.
Nice.
Yeah, I told my parents when I was 12 I wanted to do stand-up comedy.
Uh-huh.
And they... Can you imagine the response?
Were you consistent about it though? Ever since then, you were just like doing. Let me ask you some questions. Did you do theater club in high school?
I did not.
Okay. Did you do anything like in that realm in high school?
I did improv once or twice, but I was actually dancing hula in Hawaii. Yeah.
Okay. Something still performing, right?
Performing. Well, the reason why I did hula is because I don't know what your childhood was like, but my dad really wanted me to go to an Ivy League college. And he was like, well, you got to have an extracurricular. And it was either violin or hula. And I was like, I guess I'm doing hula now because I hated the violin.
That's really interesting that you bring it up like that because that tells something about yourself. I exactly have the same anecdote where I was in the 4th grade and my mom's like, you got to do something. You can't just go to school. Like, I'll give you a choice. You either go to computer school or taekwondo. Guess what? Guess what I picked?
Computer school.
Of course. I don't want to get beat up. I don't
I
want.
would have done taekwondo.
Like I should have but I was such a just a like a chubby, quiet little like geek back then. So I was like, okay, I'll figure out computers.
Yeah, that's why you should learn how to fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're a chubby kid, you should learn how to defend yourself.
My dad is not exactly the manliest man out there, although I do love him. But yeah, it's not something in our family to be like very alpha like that.
Okay, what'd your parents do?
My dad's a pastor.
Oh, okay.
My dad.
Oh, you're real Korean.
Oh, I'm a real Korean.
That's like that's
Oh,
hardcore
you know.
Korean.
Yeah,
I know
you're
about.
very well
You
read.
guys are very religious.
Yeah, so for some we believe in some kind of religion and we believe in alcohol. We just go home very serious on
You
anything.
guys love your spirits.
There you go.
That was really good.
I told you this would go down after after that riff in the first 5 minutes. No, that was yeah. So it's just like whether it's religion, whether it's alcohol, whether it's relationships too. We're very overall. I feel like whether we're diaspora or back in the motherland, we're very intense and very about friendships and loyalty
Yeah.
and sacrifice and respect and honor. These are like very.
Do you think it came from the Korean War?
I feel like it was always there.
It was always there
I
before
think
that.
I somehow like being on that little peninsula stuck between China and Japan,
And a
all
huge
those-
ocean of water.
and just like warring with each other, warring with other peoples, ethnic groups. Like we've created these value systems where, you know, like it's. I think it's really meant helps us to survive.
Okay.
I think that's why we're the way we are. Well, I don't know how we got started on that.
Dad's a pastor.
My dad's a pastor. Yeah, my dad's a pastor. So many Korean Americans go to church, although it's not like that in South Korea. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think it's just because the infrastructure was already there. There's like churches here in the U.S. and just like a cheap place to hang out on weekends together, to come together.
And then you also have to think that like the church also provides like a lightning rod. So it's like you move to America and you find your church because you know where the other Koreans are, and then you build a community around the church.
Yeah, but it worked out for the church, for the Christian church, because it wasn't like that with Catholicism or Buddhism, because Catholic Church wasn't like a thing that we can share. Like the mechanics weren't there. Same thing with Buddhist temple. There's no temples, you know.
Okay.
But there's churches, and you know, if the like white people or mixed race church had like a service at like 10 a.m. It's like, hey, can we buy your church from 2 p.m. onwards?
Okay.
That's how a lot of Korean churches get started.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Korean Jesus or is it white Jesus? And
Here's a fun fact. At any given time in a calendar year, there's like somewhere between 30 to 50 people in this world who proclaim they're their second coming of Jesus.
really,
90% of them are Korean.
90% of them are
So
Korean.
there's a lot of Korean Jesuses to answer your question. There's something about that. Something about that. And once I found that out, once I saw a documentary about that, it just tracks all these Korean people, crazy people who think they're Jesus.
That's
Like there's some dude. There's one dude. There's
this
one
makes
dude.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
I can't explain why, but this is so
Talk-
on brand.
Talk about God syndrome. God, like a lot of Koreans have Jesus syndrome. So there's this one dude on the documentary who was telling the doc producers like, I'll show you. So he's in his little like room office studio, but that's basically his like cultist church meeting place.
Okay.
And like he gets down to basically his underwear, and like he has lighting for it, very ominous, like weird lighting, and he gets against like a white wall, and he starts putting his hand out as if he's Jesus on the cross.
Oh my gosh.
And then he's like, somehow there's a CD player with playing like crazy, like weird chant Christian music, I guess. and he stands there for like 10, 20 minutes, and then he's like, "Did you see that?"
Wow.
And yeah, there you go. Koreans, I love talking about my people because we're so intense, we're so crazy, and we're so serious.
Did you grow up like with a lot of Korean culture?
I guess so. You could say that.
Because I didn't. That's why I asked. Because I'm like Chinese ethnically, but like culturally, I'm very whitewashed.
Which is interesting for you to be Chinese descended but born and raised in Hawaii. That's it's not exactly common, is it?
Oh, in Hawaii?
Yeah.
I mean, there's more Japanese people in Hawaii, but there's still a decent Chinese community.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had Saturday Chinese school, which I think, the weekend language class is one of the hallmarks of the Asian American experience.
I'll tell you something fun for me. It came a full circle because I started going to Korean school in like when I was like second, third grade, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then but I moved around so much that I went back to Korea for some of my upper elementary years, and I started going to international school in Korea. So I kind of picked up Korean again. By the time I was in high school, I was teaching Korean school.
What?
It was so funny. Yeah.
Wow, you've lived a life.
I'm kind of a Forrest Gump of Korean Americans.
All right.
Yeah. I've been through some things. Yeah.
God.
No, but for you, like paint that picture for me. Like, was it just like the Avengers in terms of Asians when you grew up? Like, it's just like every Asian represented? Like, because I know there's like a very diverse Asian population, not to mention like native Hawaiian.
Yeah, so there was, at least at my high school, there was majority Asians, mostly Japanese.
Yeah.
There was, probably, I would say like 40% Japanese, 20% Chinese, 10% Korean and Vietnamese. Had some like white kids as well.
Yeah.
But we had most of the main representatives, like some of the smaller, Asian groups. So like we didn't have we had Filipinos too, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's Hawaii.
Yeah.
But like Indonesian, we didn't have, for like Malaysian, we
Yeah.
didn't have representatives of. Mostly the big three. Chinese, Japanese, and Korean.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
the fancy Asians, as Ali Wong would like to say.
Fancy Asians. I love her, by the way.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it when
She's what we were hoping for.
I love it when she sits on Koreans too. It's so fucking funny. Maybe it's because I'm self-hating.
You're Asian. That's in the blood.
I remember this, like, and I because I'm just thinking, not just to come up with content or material, but also just reflecting. And I remember growing up in Korea, the times that I was in Korea, Koreans, contextually, we don't like to be referred as Asians. At least the
Really?
older people, like my people around my age and older, that they might, if you give them a few shots of soju, they'll probably be honest about it. Like, because Asian, like the context the word was Asian was like, it's kind of dirty because you're lumping all these Asian countries back then in the 80s and 90s, all these developing countries, China mainly, like, no, we're not Asian, we're Korean. We don't want to be lumped together
With the dirty Chinese.
unless you're gonna say we're number one. We're the number one economy, we're the number one whatever.
You're the number one Asian economy.
You're just number one. Okay, good. So we're number one, but just don't say that we're Asian because we don't. Like, I remember sensing that when, like, I would just being awkward, not knowing how to like make new friends and transferring a lot. I would end up in the Korean fob, the Korean speaking lunch table at whatever junior high school I was at, and that topic would come up. Like, we'd be just talking a lot of shit just for fun with each other, and like one of the guys would be like, yeah, like I had to correct someone, I'm not Asian, I'm Korean. I'm like, don't ever put me together as like, I don't, like, no matter what, I'm gonna fight you to death, I'm Korean.
That's so weird because in
I'm just
Hawaii we didn't have any of that pride.
Yeah.
Like we're all just like, we're from Hawaii and we're this thing, but so what?
Yeah, we had too much pride. You guys had too little pride.
Well, I
in
also
a
think it
sense.
might have. Do you think? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
do you think it might have been because you guys were in an international school, so there was like other factions? In Hawaii, Asian was such a dominant like ethnic group that it kind of didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like we had we had Asian athletes and we had Asian nerds. We had everything.
Yeah.
So like there wasn't really like we couldn't like if all the Japanese people banded together, it would be 80% of the class. So like there's no reason for them to band together.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's a good point.
I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else there? So what's the meaning of life? No. So you've made that journey to the mainland for college and all. And when did you make that jump to New York City? Well, how long you been in New York City?
I moved to New York City at the end of 2014.
Okay.
And then I've just been here toiling away ever since.
Nice.
The thing that made me finally move from Boston to New York was, one, I went to Boston at 16. So I went to college at 16.
You went to college at 16?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing this now. So it didn't go great. All right. I had to bike to Astoria to do a podcast on a Wednesday. Okay. Let's call a spade a spade. Like this.
You're not getting paid for this.
No.
There's
I got one free water and then I had to pay for the second one. So it is.
This is a 2 water bottle minimum.
It's a two drink minimum.
It's podcast.
Two Aquafina. No, this is Poland Springs water. Oh, you really splurged on me. Can I get smart water? It was.
That's the dumbest thing. Smart. Whenever I see that, that's the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, you went to college at 16, but now you're doing comedy.
I was doing comedy the first weekend in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So throughout college, you were doing comedy.
Yeah, I did my first
Nice.
open mic probably the Wednesday after I moved in.
What does a 16-year-old college freshman do in terms of material for like?
Oh my god.
It's one thing if it's an 18 or 19-year-old.
It was terrible. It was so bad. I had a joke. This was. God, are we gonna do this? We're gonna do this, aren't we? Okay. So I had a joke about how I'm pro gay marriage, but I'm against my brother being gay and getting married.
Okay.
And it's not for reasons you'd think. The reason why I wouldn't want to do that is because I wouldn't want to go to my brother's bachelor party because I hate going to male strip clubs because my brother works there. And he always tries to give me a family discount. And it's like, that's not the type of eye touch I wanted. So, just like cute kid saying dirty things. That was kind of, and then like I did like some math jokes and stuff. Yeah, it was bad. I was bad for 4 or 5 years, really bad. And then even the last couple of years, I think I finally figured out what I was doing. Probably the first good joke that I wrote, and it's good is very relative, mind you. But I had some joke 2 or 3 years in about how if I was stuck on a deserted island, I would want to be stuck with Oprah because people would be looking for her. I remember that was like one of the first jokes I told that like actually got a pop at an open mic. And the other joke that I did, actually I could bring this one back. It was pretty good. It was according to statistics, I should understand statistics. And then I like do a longer bit about that. But those were like it was weird because I started listening to comedy. I loved like more ranty comedians. Like Doug Stanhope was like my guy. But then Burr, Louis, anything with like a long, just like ranty style. When I tried to reenact that, you're 16, you have no timing, you have no idea what a joke looks like.
Not to mention life experiences and pent up anger.
Or relatable experiences as a 16-year-old in college. So I ended up being a one-liner comedian for like probably 2 or 3 years because I just needed the structure, and then I kind of built the bits from one-liners. So like a lot of what I do now is like it starts as like a throwaway line, and then I just kind of build off of that. And then it kind of goes from there. Yeah,
that's kind of similar to me, what I discovered this year with everything shutting down And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get on Twitter. I'm gonna start writing jokes on Twitter and just figure this out.
Yeah.
Like not just being on Twitter, but just figuring out writing a joke.
Okay.
Like within a Twitter format, within the limitations of that, just let's write a joke.
How do you feel you've done so far?
Pretty good. I didn't expect it to be, but I'm enjoying Twitter a lot. I mean, that's how I meet you. That's how I'm meeting this underground Asian comic New York City mafia that I'm trying to
Infiltrate.
I'm trying to homeland CIA this whole organization chart. But yeah, it's also been a lot of fun for me just to write and post things, because it's that whole thing of like you write it on Twitter, you screen cap it and put it on Instagram, see how it does on Instagram, and it's just like if it gets more than 5 likes, I'm like, okay, it's a decent joke.
God.
But yeah, that's what my
I've not been doing the whole screenshotting your tweets and putting it on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I'm all over that. I'm one of those guys. I think it's me. I do that. Marcus does that. Who else does that?
Of the Asians?
Of the Asians, I don't think any
I've
other.
seen Mike Wynn do it every once in a while.
Yeah?
I feel like,
Yeah.
And then, Youngmi Mayer. She
Youngmi
does a lot
Mayer.
of those. She's really good at that.
Yeah, I'm all over on her Twitter. Yeah.
I love Youngmi because it's all persona. It's
Yeah.
all coming from one place.
Yeah.
And that I'm like always impressed with because, also she's a little older, so she has a more defined sense of who she is as a person.
And she's super consistent. She stays in that lane. I love it.
100% her.
So focused, laser focused.
I don't know how to do that. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I can write jokes in a bunch of different voices, but I don't have one that's I don't know what mine sounds like.
Yeah.
What like the defined voice of mine
Yeah.
sounds like.
How old are you?
27.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to find a voice. I'm
getting
looking, but it's nowhere to be
You
found.
should have found a voice a few years ago.
I know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You're not young anymore.
I know. It used to be cute, and then now it's just like, all right, well, is he gonna figure it out? I'm trying to rebrand as an athlete, like as a bro.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that. I'm trying to. I've been seeing you. We were talking about this before recording. You lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I lost like 20 to 30 pounds over
Crazy,
quarantine.
Man. And then for me, I'm like trying to get into lifting.
Okay.
Trying to like going to the gym. Gyms are open, thankfully.
Where?
I go to this lifting gym in the city on 19th Street called Complete Body.
Oh wow.
I love it. I love going to, a gym where like this gym and the gym before that, where I'm the smallest guy, including all the women. Like,
Okay.
some women there are just stacked.
Okay.
They're just actually like amateur bodybuilders.
What are you trying to get in shape for?
Just for shits and giggles, just to see what it's like to be a lot more muscular, trying to lose some body fat percentage, of course, and just to see what that's like. Because up till like throughout I still am, of course, but I've always been just kind of into running and doing some half marathons here and there.
Oh, you're a runner?
But it's just like I'm not even that in good shape. Time wasn't
Running's
even
the
that.
worst.
It was just so much. I was just like, yeah, I run half marathons. It was just so much of that. I was getting into that. I was part of a Central Park running club. And it's just like, I was like, no. And then I've discovered weightlifting. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I get to sit down more?
This is like, it's a performance. There's adrenaline. There's a real pump.
There's a performance?
What
do you mean?
There's especially doing heavier lifts and trying to figure out your, no, I don't do one rep maxes, but I do like 3 rep maxes.
Yeah.
And whether it's a bench press, deadlift, squat, and trying to see if you can do that. But as you're trying to learn it and doing that and trying to figure it out, and you get through like the first year of doing that, so you kind of have an idea of what muscles you should be working out and the mind-body connection and all that. It does become a little nerve-wracking because you have a deadlift that's going to be your new personal record and you're going to go for 3 reps. You get nervous.
Oh.
You don't get nervous for a run. You get nervous for a race, however often you run a race. But that's because there's a lot of people there. There's organizers, whatever. But by myself at a gym, I get nervous about trying to lift something that I've never lifted before. That's kind of cool. It's kind of awesome. It's as efficient and as independent as jerking off. It's just so
I did not expect you to go there.
yeah, it's just so tidy. It's just on you. That's all it is. It's so simple. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm like, of course, like trying to get buff, trying to get alpha, but whatever, that's cool too, and ego and all that, that's cool too. But it's also like, I've run most of my, like up till like age 35, like I was on and off into running. Now just like trying to be more focused on.
What was your mile times? Like, what were you averaging?
A half marathon, my best time was like an hour 50. Turns out that's like 8 minute 30 second.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's a really good pace. That's a good pace.
Yeah, that's probably my best pace. I've run some 10Ks. It's all around there, low 8 minutes. Yeah.
God, I hated running.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was so surprised I liked biking, because I was like, running really, it was one of my least favorite things.
Running, it's not, I mean, there was a whole craze there, but running, I don't think is as good as we think it is. I mean, I think running, and if it's running to a point where you're just running every day, almost every day, 6 days a week, 5 days a week,
It's bad for your knees.
it's not really that good, and it's not really that helpful. Like with the amount of time and amount of calories you're going to burn, there are other activities that is like more beneficial or just as beneficial and not as deteriorating to your joints and all.
I heard walking and running the same amount of distance, it burns roughly the same amount of calories.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's like a little more
Yo,
because of
really?
effort. But yeah, so when I learned that during the beginning of quarantine, I would just walk for like 2 hours.
That's crazy.
Because I was like, yeah, I'll get like 3 to 5 miles in.
Yeah.
Just to like have like the steps.
Yeah.
I'm also not a personal trainer, by the way. So this is, this could be all fake. But yeah, I read that somewhere and I was like, okay, I'm going to just walk.
Like Asian people who are relatively skinny, we should, you guys, I'm not one of them. You guys should all start the scam of just like, because like whatever this quarantine, pandemic, whatever, you guys may be underemployed or unemployed, just become personal trainers. And just become personal trainers, and these fat non-Asian people won't even, because yeah, you put some glasses on, the way you're dressed right now, you could totally act like, just learn a little, physiology.
Oh,
just
God.
throw some turns.
I don't need another hustle.
Deltoids.
I'm trying to
say the word deltoids.
God.
Say the word anabolic a few times. You guys can kill it. Just like help some old fat black ladies get to the gym and do a.
Why they gotta be black, bro?
It's just funny. just do a squat. Asians are good at doing squats. So
I don't want to get into this nonsense. That sounds like a terrible business plan. AA, Asian athletes, is that it's the new AA?
Oh, you're onto it now. There you go. That's gonna be your new brand.
God.
Get all the Asian comics together and start figuring this out.
It'll be me and Art.
Yeah.
Just like watching everybody. Antreet's actually pretty thick too. He's buff.
Any more Asian comics start with a A in there?
Ann Chun.
Ann Chun? No, I don't know. Ann Chun.
She's great.
Yeah.
Andy Jiang.
There you go. Oh, fuck.
How did you forget about Andy? Man, you really just once you get them on your show, they just disappear.
I'm in the moment. I'm like a goldfish. I'm like focused on you, bro.
All right.
Yeah. So is Misha, is that your like ethnic name? Like
No.
how'd you get that name? It's a unique name, isn't it?
It's the Russian nickname for Mikhail, which
right.
is my birth name.
Your birth name is Mikhail?
Yeah.
You're killing me, bro, right now.
I'm telling you,
You
I did not have a
Comrade,
very Asian
you're
experience.
killing me. That's crazy. Yeah, because I saw Misha. I'm just like, this guy's really funny. He has a very unique name for an Asian
So
dude.
the joke I say is I was conceived during the Cold War, and my parents were pessimists. But the real reason is my parents couldn't agree on an English name, like an American name. So either like I think what it was is my mom had a lot of fun in high school and college, and my dad was bullied a lot. So every white name they could think of, like Andy or Ryan or Matt, my mom
bad
either
memories.
dated one or my dad was bullied by one. So they were just like, okay, we got to find like a name that both of us can agree on. Dad liked Gorbachev. My mom liked Baryshnikov. So they were like, we're going to name him Mikhail. So basically, I was fated to move to Brooklyn at some point in my life because I was named after a Russian ballerina. This Chinese boy named after a Russian ballerina. Of course, he was going to move to New York at some point. Like there was no other way.
Oh my god! What a story!
And then my parents love a good bit, like their marriage. So my brother is named Alexander, Aleksander, which is the Russian spelling.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Nicknamed Sasha. And then I have Nikolai, Kolya, and then Anya, just Anya. And she didn't get a nickname because the Anya's the diminutive of Nastia.
I didn't know that.
And my parents are like, yeah, we're not going to name our child Nastia. That can only end poorly. So yeah, it's all Russian names.
Yeah.
And then my dad and my mom actually got divorced. So my dad had another kid with his new wife, and he called his son Antonio.
Okay.
Because apparently we're just choosing Axis powers. The next son's going to be Rigatoni, and then the third son Parmigiano. So,
what a fascinating! Wow, your parents are some characters.
well, dad was born in Ohio. Mom was grew up in California,
Yeah.
Palo Alto. So they're just like they're both fairly American.
That's pretty rare. Pretty rare to meet older Asians who are like kind of doing their thing here. What, back in the 70s?
Yeah, I mean my
60s even?
Dad was born in 66.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was like 300
Yeah.
after.
They were here before, way before that wave of Asians in the 80s.
Oh, was there a wave in the 80s?
I was part of the wave of Asians in the 80s.
You're my history teacher for Asian American community. right?
I want Asian Americans to talk more about Asian American history because we need to
Because I have no clue.
yeah.
Like I have no context for this. Like
Yeah.
when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, I didn't know about yellow peril for Black Lives Matter. Like for Black Power. Like all of that stuff, I have no context for what the generation before me did. I know my dad protested a little bit at some point, but like I don't have a context for like who they were, like what being Asian was like during those times. It kind of was just like we weren't in a lot of movies.
When was those times? What time period does Yellow Peril cover? Was it like in the 80s and 90s?
I think it was during the Black Power movement, so I would be guessing the 60s and 70s.
Okay, interesting.
Because that's when MLK
Uh-huh.
and that a lot of the race protests and stuff were happening.
Civil rights movement. All
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I have, like, for one thing, just as an observation, it's not really a thing, but and I'm sure there's some other older Asian Americans who can agree with my sentiment or appreciate it at least, maybe not agree with it, is that I have a problem with Asians who are very gung-ho about BLM because
Well, you're Korean,
Yeah.
so that makes sense.
I have a problem with that. A lot of people, including myself.
Well, I'm just referring to the during the
LA,
LA,
riots.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, even with before all that, the tensions were definitely there. Is that a lot of Asian Americans first coming into this country in the 80s and 90s or whenever it was, they would set up, corner stores, dry cleaners, liquor stores, whatever, the little food takeout places, whatever they could, right, just to get by and get started, right? And a lot of people, there was some sentiment this year in BLM just kind of like taking it back to Asians. Like you came to our neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods,
Yep.
and you basically capitalized on us, on our poverty. And you, but then of course that's just like a completely upside down, idiotic, message. Like, no, like for one, no Asian family doing that. That was not their ideal thing. No one wanted to be there. No one wanted to.
Well, I think that attitude is why they had an issue.
Yeah.
It's because it's like when Asians are like, it wasn't our choice. We wouldn't have wanted to be in the black community if we didn't have to. Like that attitude is that's really
itself.
Fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that energy is like not great.
Yeah, it's all a lose-lose situation, and
Well, because the issue is poverty.
yeah,
It to me, it's less of an issue of like black people didn't like Asians. It's an issue of we're coming in and we're more successful because we're being given these opportunities that black people were not.
Is it though? Because it's like these immigrants, basically Asian first wave immigrants, were coming in, and they were setting up these stores where there weren't any stores, or they were setting up stores and they were just doing it better, or doing it cheaper, doing it more efficiently.
Okay.
Because it's like it's not like there maybe it's like it's not like there were any liquor stores, but they were just doing a better job out of it. It's not like there were any dry cleaners or any corner stores. It's just like they were doing a better job of it.
There were, I mean, that's a complicated
Yeah, it is.
way to, you know what I mean? Like
It is.
we were more successful. That doesn't mean we were doing a better job necessarily, because that's putting a work ethic on us that they're like, oh, but not these lazy black people. Please do not take that out of context. By the way, this is Seth Simons is going to look
that
this
on
up.
me. Put that on me. Black people are lazy. Put that on me.
Jesus, I mean, you're 40. You don't care anymore.
Yeah. I can't wait to be canceled. I'm not.
Yeah, because it means you're going to have had a career to be canceled.
My thing is like the first guy without a Twitter checkmark to be canceled.
Oh, is that your goal? I wish I had known that before I got on this podcast, because that is not my goal. Yeah.
Let's balance each other out.
Oh, we're gonna yin and yang this. All right, there we go.
How dare you? How dare you? But yeah, that's my thing about like young people who are a little too going too hard in the paint about BLM. Is like, yeah, you have to also take into context or understand what it was like to be Asian in the 80s and 90s here, whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult, just trying to like whether you, especially if you had little retail business, because you would get it would just be so tough just being the outsider running a store, getting robbed all the time. Like there was a time when I was growing up, I'd be surprised just because out of sheer habit or like just how common it was to walk in an Asian-owned place that didn't have bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
Like it was like whether it's a liquor store, whether it's just a corner store, like that was just so common growing up in San Francisco as a kid.
But that's the thing about if you open a business in a impoverished neighborhood, it's not black people's fault that they're, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing I think that the younger generation is looking at. It's the issue with
that's the point
older,
exactly.
With the older
But the
generation,
older point be
all
like,
they do is they see that black people robbing them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because they were Asian. It's
Yeah.
because they had stuff, and
Good point.
you know, people that rob stuff have to do so because they have no other option. Some people like robbing people just because they can.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Wall Street. See how woke I am?
Yeah.
I'm just very good. Like I'm woke. My eyes aren't. That's God.
Bobby Lee is like my kindred spirit. He's also Korean, but it's not so much that he's Korean. He's just who he is. He says like he was getting direction for acting in something, and the director is like giving him emotional an emotional plan to like how to act, like be like this, or this is what your character's feeling right now. Bobby Lee, out of frustration, he's like, I only have two emotions: eyes open, eyes closed.
God. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, to get mad at black people is ignoring is getting mad at the symptom, not the root of the problem. And we're doctors, and we should know we need to fix the the wound, not the.
I concur.
Not the side effects.
I always want to remind myself, it's always merit, it's always fact, it's always behavior. Doesn't matter who they are, what they are, where they're from. You can make a lot of stereotypes and generalizations, but at the end of it, you just have to put that all aside and like, is this person acting in a way that is good, bad, moral, immoral? Like can we quantify that? Is that just hard things, the quantifiable things beyond just like race and gender and whatever it is, like even I just sometimes.
What do you mean by that?
like in one context.
So you're saying that you believe that we're a merit-based society?
We're definitely not a merit-based society.
Yeah.
We're definitely like, and I don't think it will ever be. But as far as I try to digest what's going on in the world, I always try to try to stay a little bit distant from things, especially with this year with so much civil unrest and BLM and all that. I just like, something happened. It's very distressing to a lot of people. Well, let's see it's a hot thing. It just happened. Let's give it a day and see what more information comes out. Two, it's my favorite quote from Oscar Wilde: "Everything popular is wrong." So that sentiment that what everyone's feeling, you don't want to get too caught up in what everyone's feeling, because more times than not.
See, I disagree with that though,
Yeah.
because a very popular sentiment is that the Holocaust was bad. Is you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything, the fact that things that are popular can be bad is true, but to put such a blanket statement, and I know the Holocaust is like if you bring up the Holocaust, is it like Poe's law or something? If you bring up the Holocaust, you lose the argument. But like there are things that we as a society have deemed being bad, and like say pedophilia. We've all been like, you know what, that's wrong. So to be like, yeah, but then according to Oscar Wilde, like you could say that about anything.
But
you only use it against things
For me,
you don't like.
I am such a consummate contrarian. I'm fine. I'm always trying
You're
to.
okay with pedophilia?
I'm always trying to
Because
find.
I'm going to get you canceled
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
want
That's
it or not.
You
Let's
can
get
see
it.
me getting geared up for this.
Yeah. I can't
like,
wait for this take.
Holocaust. It's not that it's not bad. It's like is irrelevant. It's not that slavery is bad. Is irrelevant. It's not that pedophilia is bad. Is irrelevant. Like what context? So
In what context is
Yeah.
slavery bad?
yeah. So we're talking about slavery right now and BLM and reparations. Is it reparations? And I'm just like, well, how is that relevant to us today? You can talk about civil rights. That's a lot closer to us. But how like to talk about for black people to be lecturing non-black people to us about how they're descendants of slaves and and making these it's very dark, it's very distressing, it's very upsetting, it's a very big blemish on as a humankind, as a species. This is very wrong. But it's also like I was listening to this one actor, because I'm a big fan of The Wire on HBO.
Yep.
And the actor who played Avon Barksdale, one of the black drug dealer gangsters.
Omar?
No.
I've never watched The Wire.
Okay, so his name is Wood Harris, and
Okay.
he's an actor, and it was just an interview about this actor. Very, very interesting, smart guy, because he was talking about the difference between blacks in Europe and blacks in the U.S. And how blacks in the U.S. always seem to. And I'm just like paraphrasing, of course. This is not it. I'm not quoting it right, but he was saying how blacks in the U.S. always seem to always defer or fall back onto how they're people of slavery. Black, and he was mentioning how blacks in Europe, they don't do that, because they always talk about how Africans, they come from Africa, and Africans invented a lot of things.
See, I have
that
a
was
hard
such-
disagree on this.
Please.
Because Europe is very racist.
Yeah. No
Europe is super racist.
No shit.
So for us to be like, well, the black people in Europe I don't want to hear this
Yes,
shit.
Misha,
Okay?
yes.
Europe is the only place I've been to where somebody grabbed me by the arm and said, "You're Korean." And I go, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "No, no, no. You, sir, are Korean." And I was like, I'm done with France. Okay? I'm done with the country of France.
The only shittiest kind of white people where they're just so like uninformed, so painfully ignorant are Europeans.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. They're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, I grew up in the US, but I'm Korean. They're like, "Oh, North or South?" I'm like, "You fucking idiot. It's 2020. Like we don't let me break it down for you." This guy is just like blonde, pale, blue eyes, just from Germany, whatever, just doesn't know anything. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
That is a good point, though.
Yeah, so don't bring that don't bring that weak sauce into the court. All right, I'm a Hakeem Olajuwon that shit out of here.
We are living up to the yin yang part. But that's the thing about.
Well, the reason why they bring up slavery is because it's easier to talk about than all of the policies that have been historically suppressing the black community. So it's a lightning rod to be able to talk about all the things beneath that. Because each individual thing might not seem like it's a lot, but if you combine everything, it's a Voltron of oppression.
I'm just seeing all those.
Right?
They're connecting.
Jim Crow laws, redlining.
They're all connecting. All the tigers, all the lions are connecting to the black one.
God. But yeah, so that to me is really where it's coming from. You know what I mean? Like that's why they have to bring up slavery, because it is the entry point. And it's also, to me, I also am not black, so all the caveats, obviously. But if I talk about slavery and then they dismiss that, I know who I don't need to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes it easy for you.
Like it makes it very clear. Like
are you even like? It's not that they need to agree with you, but it's like they're not even like looking.
They're not even to the same basketball court.
They're not even looking to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they can't even acknowledge that part, it's kind of like, oh, this is not worth investing my energy into.
Yeah.
That's why they talk about emotional labor, because it is exhausting dealing with racism.
Yeah. I once I was hooking up with this black chick once, and like she was like, I guess I had the news on or something, and I guess like something race related, and she was just in her own world, and I was just like, I'm not gonna even. Nope, I'm not gonna mess this up. I want to get laid. I'm not gonna mess this up. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up here.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna like give it. Yeah, that's horrible, isn't it? I'm not gonna try to be an ally. I'm just gonna quietly shake my head to the side, just kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing where she leads. If she talks about it, you help. But like
she talks about it. She asks me questions, whatever it is. But I'm just want to get into her pants. I'm not gonna do anything here.
God, Tommy.
Something about racism though, growing up, like having lived in growing up in South Korea and the U.S., it's really funny because like, and I compare notes with other Asian Americans who have a certain level of experience with their original or
culture,
their parents'
their
culture,
OC.
whatever it is, original culture. And the consensus is like, there's no racism like homemade racism, It's just like Koreans from Korea have a unique way of just slicing out my soul. It's just like, you have to do. Well, Tommy, you didn't go to the Korean army. You're not a Korean man. You're not. You don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
Like you just speak some conversational Korean, but you're not. You don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, there's no home for you.
Yeah, you're not one of us.
You don't feel at home in Korea.
I was there a few years ago, and it's almost like they actually, now that Korea is very, as compared to when I was there as a kid, it's very open. It's very like progressive now, and there's a lot of people from other parts of the world, other parts of Asia living there, making a living there, and all that. So it's almost like I would have been treated better there if I was like Chinese or Filipino or Indian, as opposed to just being Korean American. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. That's the sentiment.
You left.
No, you left. You're not. You betrayed us.
How dare you?
Yeah. And then you come back here and trying to be like,
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very it wasn't so fun out there, was it?
Yeah.
You thought you were so smart and so brave going to America, and you come back tail between your legs.
But it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of Koreans go to the U.S. or leave Korea to improve themselves, to go to college or grad school, and they come back because whatever it is, that the opportunities is better, or they go back to Korea to meet a partner and settle down. But yeah, it's
Wait, so do the Koreans that go to America for college and come back get treated badly as well, or is it just someone that like lived in America the way you did?
I get treated bad. If someone went to college or grad school just a few years and went back and just, like,
they had a semester abroad, but
they're like kind of like
You changed your passport.
yeah. For me, I'm just like no. I'm like I'm nothing to. I'm the worst of the worst to them. You know.
Yeah.
I have the worst parts of both worlds. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'm American, but I'm also one of them. But I betrayed them. There was in the '90s, early 2000s. There was this K-pop star, Steve Yu. Well, his Korean name is Yu Seung-jun, and he was just like the biggest K-pop star back then.
Okay.
And there was this thing where because he somehow had his American green card, not his citizenship, but his green card, just because he came to the U.S. as a kid when early on, and all that. And there was because as he was getting around that age to like he's gotta enlist, he's gotta do his military service, so it becomes always becomes a tabloid material fodder.
Okay.
Because if they find out that you have the American green card, they're like, "Are you gonna pussy out and not go?" So it becomes anywhere between once they start going down that path, the media, the news outlets, then it's just completely unavoidable. Like that K-pop star has to make a decision: either shave your head and show up to the boot camp, whatever it is, or get the fuck out and you'll never be one of us ever again. So that K-pop star did that, and he just fell off the face of the earth. Anyone who was his friend just like completely denounced him in the media. He never had not even like a commercial, let alone an album. Like he was the biggest laughing stock. All of like
You
even
know why?
Korean
It's because
Americans.
Korea has less people, so they can band together a little easier. China's too big to like get together like that. But Korea is like small enough where they can, as a nation, decide, nah, bitch, you're fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just like, you're done.
Yeah.
So Korea's been canceling people for ages before America did.
Oh,
Is this like another thing that America
is
stole
how-
from us? And then
I try to cancel my parents. I mean, like canceling is
you try to cancel your parents?
yeah, canceling is part of our culture. It's a way of life. Like I think I cancel friends. I think I defriend a real friend in real life like once a year.
Really?
I just like no, you're I'm gonna have to let you go. Like it's not like I don't.
Do you let them know that, or
Sometimes
do you
I do,
just
sometimes I don't.
drop off?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just block them from all social media.
Wow.
Yeah, block their number.
All right.
Block their
well,
kakao.
well, it's great knowing you for this one conversation, and then I will.
This is a comedic hookup. I'm not gonna never see.
It's just a one night mic, a one mic
We're gonna
stand.
have some awkward interactions at open mics, and
I mean, I would kill for an open. Actually, no.
Yeah.
I miss it sometimes.
You miss it sometimes. How is your feeling towards the lack of open mics these days?
Oh, there are open mics. They just make me sad.
Yeah,
I don't like doing mics.
as if it wasn't sad enough.
Well, it's the park mics that really make me sad.
Yeah.
It's like doing mics with children around. That is where I'm just like, all right, guys, this is not.
Yeah.
Everyone has a right to the park, and for us to be like,
Yeah.
you know, doing open mic material,
Yeah,
it kind of makes me uncomfortable.
I want to do it just for the hell of, for the sake of. See, I can't even stop cursing. I want to do it for the sake of just performing and just like getting out there and doing something. But at the same time, exactly, I'm there with you. Like, I love kids. I love making kids laugh too. But then I'm like, I have to be a clown. Like I can't. I literally have to be a pantomime or something. Like because if I can't do dirty jokes, if I can't curse, if I can't be vulgar, then it's just like. It's
Well,
like
for me,
two-thirds
I
of my
don't mind
material.
working on the stuff I want to work on at the mic. It's being there while other people are being vulgar, and I'm just like, oh, I'm uncomfortable at this point. Like, you know, when you hear a fisting joke and you see a playground like that is a thing that should not be happening in the same 30-second period. Like that. That for me is just where I'm kind of like, all right, well, this has been nice to see you guys. I paid $1 to do this, and then I'm gonna go.
Fun times, clown times, end times.
Could be worse.
Yeah, it could always be worse.
No.
Yeah. What's any new kind of hobbies that you picked up since this whole mess this year?
No. So I basically spent most of quarantine cooking, working out, and playing video games.
Oh, what do you play?
I got a Switch and I got an Xbox One, but I play very basic, like the boring games. So
Classic games.
it's very like gamer light. It's just like I've been playing the Avengers game, the Marvel Avengers game. For
The
a
new
little
one?
bit. Yeah, the new one.
Now, what are you playing on Switch? Or
No, I'm playing it on the Xbox.
Xbox? How is it? Because I've been just watching. I was just kind of curious about it. I don't have. I'm not a gamer myself, but
Okay.
I've been just watching like the storyline. That's why I was drawn into it.
See, I love Marvel.
Me too.
Like it's one of those things. It's very well done pop culture. I think that
Well put.
It's well constructed. It's well executed. And what I like about it is I don't have to show up every week. Like part of my problem, part of the hard thing about TV for me is I have a hard time making an effort to watch something every single week. So that's why I could never get into, Bad Men or like Lost or something because I didn't have a routine like that. And then I have a hard time with, like binging stuff as well because it involves just like, okay, we're going to spend 3 hours of a day.
Yeah.
And I just never, you do that for like a couple days in a
Yeah.
row. Movies from Marvel, it's 2 hours every 3 months, and that's it.
Yeah.
It is a very small time commitment.
Yeah.
I think it's
2
done-
hours every 3 months. That's the best kind of friends with benefits, pretty much.
Yeah, it really is. It's you show up. It's a good excuse to meet up with your friends, but it's not so often that it has to become like rearrange your entire
You're
life.
just picking it right back up. Just
Well,
like
because I was doing
the
comedy at the time, so I just didn't have that type of time
Yeah.
because I was like, whenever a gig shows up, I'm going to be there rather than watch an episode and then
for
I miss 17 out of a 24 episode season. It's kind of like, what's the point of watching?
Yeah. But with the new Avengers that came out, the one with that girl who is Miss
Marvel, yeah.
How do you like I don't want to spoil it for other people, but how do you like that character design? Like, because it's obviously trying to be a little bit more up with the times, a little bit more progressive. Because like her cultural background, her religious background, family, and all that. Well, how do you think they did it? How do you think it was? It well done? Do you think it was well done?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's just like this is who the main character is, and we're living through her. I'm also not I don't read the comic books. I'm literally only into the Marvel
Me too.
movies.
Me too. I'm so basic. Like
Yeah, it's just
I've actually there's some actually really well renowned dare I say prestigious comic books stores here in Astoria. There's a couple of them. I've been inside one. I'm just like I might pick up comic books. We'll see.
oh really?
Yeah.
See, for me, it's just too expensive of a hobby.
Oh, I didn't even look at the prices. Yeah.
$4 or $5 a comic, and
Yeah.
you're doing. They got you on the hook for
That's a, yeah.
every. Every book is $30, and you read it once. You know what I mean? Like Yeah, that's why I like the Marvel movies because I can watch them all on Netflix,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it's $15 at the theater.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to Black Widow?
Is that movie or TV show?
That's a movie. With
Yes, and the movie version I'll be on board with.
Yeah.
The TV show, I don't
They
think
haven't.
so.
They haven't announced because I think Disney's still trying to figure it out so they can release it into movie theaters
For what?
for Black Widow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but because they definitely don't want to release it on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. You saw what happened with Mulan.
Yeah, exactly. But that was a unique case because that movie itself was just poorly done.
Yeah, I
From
don't know
what
how
I've
to
read.
feel about it.
I've-
Have you seen it yet?
No, I've not. I'm just reading everyone's
Oh,
comments.
good. I
about
love it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah. I'm just giggling at all the comments and people's take on it.
My dad loved it, which makes me think it's going to be bad. It's generally, he has terrible taste.
Okay, let's talk about your dad's movie taste. What movie has he seen that was really good, but he thinks it was bad?
Oh, really good that he thinks was. It's more he suggests movies for me to watch, and I just hate all of them.
That sounds such an Asian
I remember
dad
when
to
I
do.
was like 16. Well, you got to remember, my dad's like American.
Uh-huh.
So like he would suggest 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I was just like, Dad, you've got to be kidding me. I fell asleep. There's like the scene where like they go around in a circle. He
I don't think so,
It's
Hal."
iconic, and I'm just like, Dad, this is just old people shit. Like I'm not on board.
Yeah.
He tried to get me to watch a bunch of movies, which honestly, in retrospect, I think was him trying to connect with me.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm going to major in writing for TV
Yeah,
and film.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, well, you should watch some movies. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, not those.
That's kind of adorable how
Yeah.
he's trying to connect with you on that.
It was in retrospect. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. My dad is he doesn't watch movies much, but when he does, he only wants to watch tragedies, like physical, natural disaster tragedies.
Okay.
Like because one, it's just easier to consume a movie when it's like a lot of action, a lot of visuals, not too much serious dialogue.
There's not as much subtlety too.
Yeah, not too much subtlety.
Was
So-
he born in Korea?
Yeah,
Gopher?
yeah, his English is pretty limited.
Okay.
Even though he's lived in the U.S. for a long time, his English is still limited.
Now, why is that?
I've been telling recently people around me that I've come to the conclusion that I'm still trying to figure it out how the best way to.
How old was
express.
he when he moved?
He came here for grad school for seminary when in his he was still like 33, 34, and
That's a weird age to move.
He's
Okay.
been here ever since, with like the exception of like 6-7 years. So over a 35-year period, he's been here for 30 years, more or less. And like when he was in his height of his seminary days, he was writing and preaching in English, just for the courses and all that. But now he's like, and I guess it's very similar with any Korean American or Asian American first generation, where my dad's basically Amish. He has very specific tastes and preferences.
Yeah.
It's very strong. Like my dad doesn't go to anywhere that serves alcohol,
Oh wow.
because anywhere that serves alcohol, he considers it as a bar. It's an alcoholic establishment.
So you won't even go to Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, he'll do that because there's just so many of them. But
They have wine.
yeah.
You should tell him
he'll
that. That way you don't have to go to the Olive Garden.
It's hypocritical of him, and it's just not now becoming another episode.
Is that why you have booze in this apartment?
What's that?
Is that why you have booze in this apartment?
Yeah.
Just so he won't visit?
I'm such a rebellious black sheep of the family, but no, like I think Olive Garden is the one exception, and also he drinks beer at home. Like I don't know what his problem is.
That's weird.
One time I was visiting him, and in the garage, it was the funniest thing. I doubled over laughing because I thought he just doesn't drink, but then he likes to drink just after dinner, so it help
Digestion.
him digest, of course, right? And he had a big old case of Natty Lights. I'm like, this is the most like adorable thing my dad has ever done. Just like these
He drinks Natty Lights?
Natty Lights is the cheapest beer there is.
Okay, I don't know if I would say that your
Like-
dad drinks then.
He consumes. He enjoys Natty Lights.
Oh.
And then
You doing a bit about that?
I have to figure that out.
Yeah, that's a premise for sure.
There's something in there, right? And my mom drinks box wine,
Oh man.
and it's just like I'm like 30 years old teaching my parents how to like, this is a bottle of wine. They're like, ooh, as if it's like from Mars, as if it's kryptonite.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is a wine opener. You open it and drink it, and they're like, okay, it's a little bit better than box wine. It's like $2 Chuck. I'm just like, but $2 Chuck's gotta be better than boxed wine.
Do you have siblings?
I have two older sisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're both married with kids. And well, my nieces and nephews range from age 13, almost 13, to like 6, somewhere
Okay.
around there. Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Yeah. I've been married for a short time, for a blip.
Oh yeah?
And that didn't work out. Thank God it didn't work out, and just failed very quickly.
How quickly?
We got legally married in July, and then we filed for divorce the next June.
Wow.
Yeah.
11 months.
Yeah.
Speed record.
Yeah, that was 11 months on paper. In reality, it was more like 8, 9.
Wow. How'd you meet her?
Funny enough, I met her at a meetup on meetup.com. So it's not like I looked it up.
I was going to say, that worked for you, but it obviously did not.
It didn't. I did meet her, but at my close friend, he invited me. So at the time, I was still going to church.
Okay.
And he stopped going to church, and he's like, "Hey Tommy, I think you should come out to this meetup I'm going to it's a meetup for people who are trying to leave or already left the church. I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll go to it. So it's like a Bible study for people who don't want to do Bible studies anymore. Really interesting, right?
That's a premise.
Yeah, it's like a Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's for church people.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so weird, and I loved every minute of it. That's where I met my ex-wife. Yeah, she was there too. She's in the
Was she also Korean?
We're very similar on paper. She's Korean, Christian, leaving the church. So we had a lot of things to talk about when we first started dating.
But then it ran out.
Yeah, just I'm not that kind of guy to be like living in a stable relationship, committed relationship. So yeah, definitely was not. Yeah, I just want to do it, see what it's like, and make my dad happy. That's really what it was.
Was he happy?
He was happy for a minute. Yeah.
For 8 months.
My dad tried to quarterback the reconciliation between me and my ex-wife. I'm like, Dad, we filed the papers. There's no going back.
God.
He didn't understand what that meant.
Man.
So you have from your parents, you have 3 siblings,
Yes.
and then you have
Well,
one.
no, that my parents. Yes, 3 siblings from my parents.
Then you grew up together with those 3,
More
more or less.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So I'm 27. I have a 25-year-old brother. That's Sasha. And then a 23-year-old brother, Kolia. He actually just got married. Yeah. And then my sister, Anya, is 12 years younger than me. So she's 15. We adopted her from China.
Where's she? She's there over there with your parents.
She's in Hawaii with my mom. And
Yeah.
then my dad's in California.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Antonio.
Okay. Just Antonio. I love all the names.
Yeah. And
Do you-
Winnie. That's the wife. Stepmom. I call her 2.0.
2.
People really like that joke, and I don't
love it.
understand why.
I love it so much. I love it so much. Do you find that both men and women like that, or is that some kind of gender schism with that 2.0 joke?
It definitely hits harder with the men, but the women also enjoy it because
Yeah.
it's such a reckless thing to say about your mom. I think it's what it is. They're just like, oh, he's crazy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oldest child. But I was younger than everyone in school, so I felt like I had youngest child energy. So it's like a weird...
Interesting.
No.
I was a little old for my grade. I felt like the slightly retarded older brother for my classmates. I wasn't held back a year, but it just turned out that way.
Well, you were always... Yeah. in
jumping
different
from
schools.
Korean school in Korea to like an international school in Korea. It's just like my dad's like, you want to go to 7th grade or 6th grade? I'm like, I want to go to 6th grade. Okay, you go to 6th grade then.
Oh, you did 6th grade twice?
Yeah, so it's just like I finished 6th grade in the Korean school, but their school year starts in the spring, not in the fall.
Okay.
So it's a calendar year how they do school in Korea. So it was
Oh,
kind
that's
of
funky.
Yeah, it's very different. So by the time I was like enrolling for the school year at the international school, which is basically the regular American style, like it was supposed to be fall. They're like, well, I was just there at the school with my dad and the guidance counselor, and we're just like sitting there, just like deciding my future. Like, so you have a choice. I mean, like guidance counselor's like, yeah, it's really up to you, Tommy. You want to do 7th grade? Because it seems like you're, like we just took a few quick tests. It seems like you'll do all right.
Yeah.
I was out of the American school system for 3 years, going to Korean school there. It was just like, let's do 6th grade.
Was it a boarding school?
That wasn't a boarding school. It was a school within a U.S. Army base.
Okay.
Meant for soldiers' kids, diplomats' kids, whatever it is. My dad still had his U.S. citizenship, and we just had to pay a hefty tuition. And
Yeah, because international schools are notoriously for like rich kids.
Yeah, mostly. This, like, there's some prestigious schools in Seoul for definitely for like kids of
Ambassadors,
ambassadors, politicians, CEOs, things of that nature.
I dated a girl that went to international school in Shanghai.
Yeah, I know that Shanghai International School.
Oh, she had.
Yeah.
She had fun in college. She had a lot of money.
Yeah. I went to school and college with people like that.
Grey Goose every weekend.
Grey Goose is like their cheap stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
their you know,
Yeah,
it's just a Saturday.
Yeah, it's
Let's get a bottle of Grey Goose.
yeah. Just
And
stay in.
Patron, you know what I mean?
Just stay in and chill out. Buying a bottle of Patron, even into my late 20s, it's like, wow, this is some adult shit right here. This is so nice and it's such a nice bottle. Yeah.
You can still drink tequila? Because I had to stop after college.
I'm actually getting back onto it because as gross as it is, there's no bitter hangover, like compared as far as my body makeup goes. Like I think in terms of hangover, what's best is like tequila, mezcal, then soju, then
Soju leaves no trace. It's
so
so
good.
dangerous.
It's like CSI, no crime scene. You know, it's just that's so good. And then basically everything else is just. And then there's worst is like rum for me.
Oh man,
Rum.
I don't think I've had rum
anything
this year.
I don't know why I have to make it racist, but anything black people like, I can't enjoy. Rum, Hennessy, a cognac.
I fuck with Hennessy.
I can't-
Hennessy's great.
It tastes
Are you
great.
crazy?
I can't take. I can't. I
That's why
enjoy
they're
the.
so mad in the morning. That's why. I'm just kidding. Okay, please don't cancel me. God damn it. Chris Hamilton is my friend.
I'm joining
that's-
you. I'm making you join the dark side, Misha.
know, it's
join
very
the
fun.
dark side. It's so much fun here in the dark side. But yeah, I can enjoy a sip of those things, but it's just like after 2 or 3, I'm just like I'm gonna feel it tomorrow. It's gonna wreck me. It's gonna wreck me so hard.
God.
But I can just keep on chugging like mezcal and soju.
I'm a whiskey guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your go-to whiskey?
It's been Bullet, but I really was fucking with some Suntory Tory, some Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
There's like
Japanese
a-
stuff is so nice.
good.
Yeah.
Light.
Yeah. Playful.
Yeah.
Like it's, and speaking of hangovers, not that. Yeah, I don't know why it's like whether it's some Scotch or some American bourbon, like pretty bad. I get that's Crazy Tommy coming out. Crazy Party Tommy comes out.
When the whiskey comes out?
When it's like bourbon or whiskey. Japanese stuff, I think I definitely try to enjoy it, but anything else, like I'm bouncing off the walls.
Oh, whiskey was like my go-to after show drinks.
Yeah.
Just like knock back a whiskey on the rocks.
Yeah.
Well.
Do you? No, nice. Do you have you had any problems with alcohol?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Tell me some of your worst got too lit, had too much fun stories.
I mean, basically, I was drinking heavily from college until 2009 to April 2020. I remember stuff from it, but it was a lot of just drunken nights. I was drinking probably 5 or 6 nights a week, 4 or 5 drinks a night for about a decade. Probably one of the fun stories that I would tell was when I was in college, the end of my freshman year. I used to have.
That's why you could have. Okay, so I can understand dropping 30 pounds this year just from that. Like,
Oh yeah, I gained about 2 or 3 every year, but that builds up after a decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had some good times. I was like,
What's drunk Misha like? What's like 6 drink, 5, 6 whiskeys in Misha like?
I'm a chatter.
Yeah.
I love a bar
Nice.
conversation. I love just like yakking it up and just talking. It doesn't matter with who, doesn't matter about what. I just love connecting with people.
Yeah.
And I realized it's because I don't like being home alone. So that was my alternative. So I would just drink at the bar until I could go home and I knew I was going to fall asleep right away.
Do you go to the bar by yourself?
No.
Or do you have like bars where you go, it's like cheers, like like
So
people.
yeah,
the
I would have
regulars
those
would be-
things.
Yeah.
I would because I would like drink at mics. After a mic, I would like hang out till like 2 a.m. I was at the Lantern a bunch pre-quarantine, and so whenever I just was like off, I was like, oh, I'll just go to the Lantern. I'll know somebody there. I'll get a couple of free drinks.
Yeah.
Subsidized.
Sure.
And then stay till 3 or 4 in the morning. I would help like tend the bar sometimes. Like they would have me bring up ice from downstairs because I was there so often. Yeah, I was just a fixture.
Yeah. Bringing the ice.
Oh yeah, they were like, "Hey Misha, can you bring up a thing of ice?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because I knew all the bartenders. They all knew my drink order.
Yeah.
They would serve, which was great because they would serve you before other people.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh hey,
Yeah.
just get it," and then
Yeah.
you just like need to give a look.
Just eye contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Um,
I have that with K-Town on and off.
oh yeah,
K-Town here, not so much K-Town LA, but definitely probably because of the driving. Once I got here, it took me like a year to get rid of my car, and like one close call, and I was like, okay, I gotta sell my car. I don't know why I'm still driving here in New York City, and then
are you drinking driving?
oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
See, here's something. I kind of am like, depends how drunk you are when you drink and drive.
Yeah.
Like if you're 2 or 3 in,
No,
I think it's fine. That's
No,
not
that's fine.
drinking and driving,
That's
but
fine.
it's against the law.
Yeah.
And I'll have people who'll be
You'll
like,
get a
"That is so
DUI."
terrible."
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
isn't. It's not the safest you could be, but it's definitely.
that's what everyone in LA does. But that's definitely
That's why
before
everyone in LA has a DUI.
before Uber days, definitely.
Well, that's why everyone's so skinny because they can't afford rent because they're paying off their DUIs.
Yeah. But yeah, it's you can't be a socialite or sociable person in LA and not have like it's like almost a 50-50 chance you're gonna get a DUI eventually.
Yeah.
But once I got to New York and once I had the close call, I was like, fuck it, I gotta sell my car. I'm never doing this again. It felt so bad. It was so bad. Like the story
happened?
goes, the whole night goes. Long story long, I had a friend that was visiting me from out of town. That's already bad. I wasn't particularly close to this friend. It was a friend of a friend, but he likes to drink. I like to drink, so that's one thing. Another thing is this guy is like built like a truck. Like
you tried to keep up.
He's literally 3 times my body weight.
That's a rookie move.
And he's known for just if he wants to get drunk, he just goes to a bar and orders 10 shots.
That's
And
Danger Will Robinson. Yeah, no, that's
Then he starts the night like that. So he was in. So we started in Cape Town. He was on a business trip, so he was just buying everything. He's just like, Tommy, I got you. Don't worry, it's gonna be all on the corporate card. So I was like, okay, cool, let's have fun. Like I don't remember second half of the night. All I remember was trying to get back to just fucking a slosh. I was a Slurpee, basically. Getting back to the basement parking lot somewhere on the west side to get my car. Even before getting my car, as I was walking over there, I was like, oh, I'm so dizzy. I gotta take a break from walking. So I just leaned up against the wall.
yeah.
Misha, this wall was so comfortable to lean against. I was like, this wall is very, very comfortable. I wonder why this wall is so comfortable. I was lying on the ground. Once I finally get my bearings straight and stumbled into the parking lot, got my car, the valets were like, with their eyebrows raised, they're like, holy shit, we're giving a car to this fucking madman who can't even stand straight for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
There was this white lady, the best kind of Karen there was. This white lady was screaming at the top of her lungs, this guy's drunk. He shouldn't, don't give him the car. She was kind of sort of have like, I was like drunkenly Hulk, like, because she was trying to like pull me away from my car. And I was just like, I'm gay, get my car. Don't remember anything. Driving all the way back to my sister's place in New Jersey.
You drove to Jersey like that?
Yeah, from Midtown West to all the way to.
Is that why
North
you're
Jersey.
Tommy Danger?
I'm such an idiot.
Oh my god.
And then I woke up in the little basement room that I was like, because I was like what my first year in New York City area. I was still trying to like figure out everything. I didn't move to New York yet, and I woke up hungover. I'm like, like I was terrified. I was mortified. I was like, I didn't want to open my eyes. I was like, 1, I don't think I'm in jail. 2, I don't think I'm in the hospital. 3, I think I'm alive. I'm not dead. 4, let's begin to check my body. Okay, my body's here. I was like, did I kill anybody? Like I slowly came out from the basement, went outside. My car's parked fine. I'm just like looking at my parents. My parents are like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm like, nothing. I'm just a little sick. They're like, okay, you want breakfast? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. I checked in with my buddy. My buddy was like, "Oh, you were fine." But you were drunk, but you were fine. I was just like, that was nuts. After that, I was like, I'm selling my car.
You a blackout?
I black out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I black out. There's no rhyme or reason. Sometimes I can have like 3 drinks and I black out.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I know when I'm gonna black out,
Yeah.
and it's if I change locations.
Yeah, you're pretty consistent about that. Like,
Yep. So I can drink probably like 5 or 6 drinks at the same location.
Uh-huh.
But if I change locations, just everything shuts off. My brain stops recording. It is like clockwork, where it's like if I'm getting drunk at one place and I move to another bar, it's done.
Your brain
Like,
has like a GPS overload. It's like, no, too much. We can't.
my brain only has enough
We
room.
moved locations.
Yep.
Like we could. Like,
Runs out of space.
yeah.
It's.
You got to refresh the cache here. It's not going to work.
I think I'm gonna cut back. I mean, I definitely have already started cutting back,
Oh, for
but
sure.
it's like it's.
But you and are you like a social alcoholic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't drink by myself.
Me too. That's the same thing. Yeah.
Like this stuff, that the drinks you have there, it would
Yeah.
last me for like a year if I don't have
Yeah.
anybody over.
Yeah.
But as soon as somebody
I
comes,
have to tell myself, hey, I forget I have good booze at home. I have to drink a little. Like
no, I don't do it because I know I'll get too happy with it. Yeah. Yeah. I need
Are you
somebody to drink
afraid
with.
of having booze at home, like liquor
No,
at home?
I have
Yeah.
booze at home. I have
Yeah.
like a bottle
There you go.
at home.
Yeah.
There's no fear
Yeah.
because I set a rule. I set a boundary. It's
Yeah.
like I only drink with other people.
Yeah, and that's like pretty easily followable for you.
Well, that's why I'm so friendly. That's why I like making friends because
yeah,
come on over. Let's have a drink.
Yeah, but
Let's
that's
go
really
hard.
fun. That's
Yeah.
really funny how you black out like that consistently. For me, like there's no that much. Like I do black out pretty often.
Yeah.
Like I do have some idea of like depending on what kind of drinks. Like I never black out with soju,
Okay.
but I always black out with scotch, whiskey, bourbon. That
Yeah,
kinda-
bar hopping kills me. That's I don't bar hop because it's like, well, if you want me to be have fun for the first half and then completely disappear. Yeah, I just
That's so funny.
it's so bad.
Imagine like you're like at a party with friends or like on a date, just like they just want to go somewhere else. Like, no, we should stay here. Let's look, we could.
Honestly, I think it messes with my hookups because, we'll like be like, doing well at the bar and then we go home and I'm done. It's just like, wake up tomorrow. Let's try again. Like it's,
That's so funny.
God.
I've there's this one bar, this karaoke lounge in K-Town, and that's one of the places where I hit up. Like I used to hit that place up all the time. Like, and I would go there like when it's dead.
By yourself?
by myself and
Okay.
just hang out with the locals, the regulars, the staff, where it is. And but sometimes I would just enjoy myself too much where I black out, and I would have to ask like the staff or my friends to fill me in.
Yeah.
Hey, what happened? One time I went there, I left my
See, that's what I hate. I hate that at this point in my life where I'm just, I can't keep doing
Good.
what happened.
good. Misha, you're a young man still. It's a good thing you realize that. You don't want to be in your late 30s to be realizing that. You want to be in your late 20s to be realizing, like, at least have that beginning tinder of a feeling where it's like, yeah, maybe this is not the best thing.
The horror I have the next morning when I look at my phone history and I see I called people, I'm just like, oh God, I don't remember this. This is where it goes bad.
Do you do that often? Do you call people when you're drunk often?
It was really bad in college. I would like drunk dial my friends every Tuesday because that's the type of drinking I was on. I remember there was like a month in like November. It's like my freshman or sophomore year. It was like my friend Robert was like, Misha, you've called me every Tuesday this month. Are you okay? And I'm just like, college, bro.
At least you're consistent.
But then after college, it kind of fell off. Like it wasn't as bad anymore. But I just, it's
Once again, you're friendly. That's what it is.
I love a good
You
catch up.
connect. I
Do you drunk dial?
I don't drunk dial. I'm that part of me, whether I'm sober or drunk, I'm still the same. I'll be in the moment with the person, like you're with me, or like, or if I'm drunk, then I'll be just like, kind of like you, like get super gabby, super talkative. But if they're not like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. You know,
Okay.
it's like, oh, they're not here. Fuck that person. They're not here. You know,
Yeah.
that person should be here. But one time because it was as unpleasant as it was, it's like kind of a roller coaster to me. Like I still like to be filled in when I black out. I was like, hey man, what did I do? What happened? And a lot of times it's like, oh, you're fine. I didn't know you blacked out. You're just being your silly, goofy self, and you just disappeared. And you just like, I guess we just assume you went home. One time I was asking a bartender at that place I go to, the karaoke lounge I go to, and he's like, dude, do you not remember? I was like, holy shit, what'd I do? Dude, you slapped someone. I'm just like, what? You slapped someone so hard, I had to kick you out, man. You don't remember this? Because there was a reason why I was missing a credit card because I left the tab open and he closed it out and everything. That's why I was there back the next day. And he's like, yeah, I had to kick you out, man. Like, because you slapped someone. I don't know what the context was. I don't think you were fighting them. I think you were trying to jokingly slap them.
See that?
And
that
I was just
is
like
making my asshole pucker up.
I was just like, yeah, I can't. Like he was. I first wanted to discount and not believe what he was saying, but he filled in enough details where it's like, I kind of do that though. Can't believe. I still to this day I can't believe I slapped somebody, but he was describing the context and what he saw and the energy, and I was just like, I must have been a little too friendly with that guy. It's like, hey man, I know you. Bah.
Oh, see, for me, it's like sometimes I know every once in a while there'll be like an angry drunk that comes out.
Okay.
It's normally super chill, super friendly,
Yeah.
but every once in a while, I'm just like, there's like a beast that just,
The beast is there, man.
the beast is there and
The
it
beast is always
unleashes
there.
and they're just like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
That was not supposed to happen. Yeah, so I got to keep a lid on it.
Have
a
you
little bit.
have you ever woken up in an odd place, in an odd situation, from drinking too much?
I remember one time I had to go back to my friend's place because I lost my glasses there. And I was just so drunk, I didn't realize I couldn't see.
You were so drunk that you couldn't see. You just assumed that it was because you're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember probably like a good drunk story was I went to see Ted, the movie, with my friends, and I snuck in a water bottle of vodka, and I finished it before
How big was his water bottle?
It was like a general one of these.
But that's
It
filled
was
with
like
vodka.
half vodka. Yeah.
That's a party in a bottle.
It was probably like 6 or 7 shots.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I finished it before the previews were over. I
You chugged it.
fell asleep midway through the movie.
Of course.
I woke up in my bed and I was like, what the fuck? How did I get home? Who let me drive? I go outside to check on the car and it is gone.
Your car's not there?
My car's not there.
Holy shit.
And then I realized it's because I was at home for the summer and my mom just took it to do errands because it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Oh, shit.
It was one of these like, oh my God.
I feel relieved.
Yeah, that was a night where I was like, oh, this is drunk driving where it's bad. But I've had drunk driving nights where, I'm like 4 or 5 in over like 3 or 4 hours and I drove 4 miles.
Yeah.
Like that's
And you're
not
driving like
crazy.
a granny. It's like you're
Driving on the freeway, but it's a straight shot. There's no major
Yeah.
turns.
Yeah.
No one's on the road. It's Hawaii.
Yeah.
No one's out at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the traffic in Hawaii at night is like it's so easy.
Yeah.
I did. Oh God, this isn't like I woke up drunk. I woke up hungover, and I had to drive to work, and I was falling asleep in rush hour traffic. And I remember waking up multiple times, having to slam on the brakes.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's really scary.
Going 10 miles an hour.
Now-
like it was like
Yeah,
we were going really slow.
Now,
but it was
were
bad.
you hungover or were you still drunk?
I was still drunk.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Yeah.
It was like, on 2 or
That's-
3 hours of sleep.
I kind of knew that was there.
But I liked lying to myself and you're like, no, it was fine. And then I taught swimming for 8 hours to children. So
That's not the worst thing.
the chlorine
How-
really wakes you up.
There you
That
go. I've-
cold water.
I was a Sunday school teacher, Sunday school children's ministry pastor for a while there, and I'll admit, a confessional right now. I've led some Sunday services for kids while I was still hungover, very hungover.
Are you just a drinker or do you do other stuff too?
drinker? Well, these days I smoke some weed, but
Pot,
yeah,
mushrooms,
I've done mushrooms once.
Molly?
I've done Molly once.
Just once. You're
Just
in
once.
LA for 10 years during
I was
the
on the-
peak of.
Misha, I was a nice
Molly
church boy the whole time there.
When did you have your renaissance?
Coming to New York City,
Oh, so 10 years ago.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it just kind of eased into it though.
Mhm.
I drank a lot in LA. Well, I drank some in LA.
Yeah.
But,
Were you blacking out regularly in LA? Or
That was mostly a New York City thing.
Okay.
Because it's like no cap, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about New York. It's why I have a hard time thinking about leaving because I love the not having to drive
Oh, yeah.
after a long night.
That you can't. It just doesn't make sense. Or else you're gonna be in some city and paying just a lot of Uber rides back and forth from your car to home to back to your car.
Well, that's why you got to go somewhere with public transportation.
Yeah.
Like you got to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
Like that's the only other place you can do that. But if you're in Chicago,
I don't
be
know.
in New York.
Chicago also Chicago's is surprisingly a conservative city. Like there are a lot of people who go home like right after work. Then, it's 5 o'clock and you just one drink.
Yeah, but you'll find your people.
Maybe. I asked you that question, waking up at workplaces, because for me, I'm still trying to find people who are on my level. I'm sorry to say you're not quite on my level yet.
That's fine.
I hope you never be. Actually, it's not a good thing. I woke up in an ambulance once.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah.
Which is honestly very surprising because
Yeah.
I drank a ton in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
One time in college,
You're like a responsible alcoholic, social alcoholic. Like if you haven't, or maybe you've just been lucky.
it's I'm more cheap. I don't have enough money to go to the hospital from drinking.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's not because I don't want to pay for the hospital. I don't have enough money for the drinks to get me to the point where I have to go to the hospital. That's why open bars are my nightmare. I can't do open
Say
bars
less.
anymore.
Yeah.
Because I want to get my money's worth
Yeah.
or I want to just like, there's
Yeah.
no limit. And I just keep going.
People ask me why I got married. I'm like, open bar.
Dude, that I really...
The wedding planner was like, okay, so we're gonna have an open bar, yes? I'm like, yes. Just shut my wife up. My ex didn't drink that much, but
I like drink less
yeah,
once I could go to bars than I did before I could go to bars.
yeah. I see
Because
what-
house parties, you're just trying to like
Yeah.
pound everything that you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Both booze and women.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Heyo.
God.
Yeah.
But then like once I like got out of college and went to bars, I was paying $8 a drink. I was like, I'm gonna slow it down a little bit because I can't afford this because I don't want to move back in with my
discover
parents.
the old flask in the jacket trick.
No,
No,
never been a flask in the jacket.
I was
guy.
trying to be that guy, but I'm also that's cost efficient, but also very weird.
Yeah. I never needed to be drunk that badly. And I liked having the drink out. So, like, I liked having the drink at the bar, cheersing and talking. Like, I feel like you don't get to be as social if you're trying to hide
Yeah,
the jacket drink.
yeah.
You're a jacket drinker?
I was trying to be that guy. It was definitely cost effective, but it was weird. It was even too weird for me. Yeah. Yeah, that night that I
hospital.
ended up in the ambulance was it was
K-Town?
No, it was an open bar event for I had this attorney friend and he goes to
See, this is the problem.
yeah, you already
Lawyers.
know. You already know, right? Lawyers love to fuck around. They love to get lit.
It's because they have 1 hour of free time a month, and
Yeah.
they're going to take full advantage.
These events, they're just open bars, and I'm just tagging along. I'm not a lawyer. I'm tagging along. My friend's like, dude, just come with me, please. Like, it's going to be 30 minutes of networking, schmoozing, and like 3 hours of drinking. Just come with me. I was like, go there, just like open bars. I was like, okay, let me get Maker's Mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are going down really blackout. And so blackout fast forward all the way to a point where I was waking up. Like my eyes are still closed because I didn't want to open them. I felt like my body's like being moved around, whatever. I was on a gurney.
Jesus.
From being pushed and pulled from an ambulance into the ER, and they put me into the MRI, CAT scan, whatever the scanning thingy, tube thingy. They put me in. By the time I was coming to, I was so embarrassed. But my thing is, I'm just make fun of myself, make fun of the situation, make jokes with the tech there. The scanning tech has like, hey man, can I get a Maker's Mark in here? That's what I've been drinking the whole night, man. He was just having, he was
See,
good,
this
good
is
sport.
why I've had a very hard time admitting to myself that I had a drinking problem, and it's because I meet people like you.
Yeah.
Part
Like,
of comedy
make it
is
levity, make it light.
No, but drinkers that go to the hospital, like I drink a lot for like my private high school, but compared to like comedians and stuff, I don't have any of these stories, these like epic nights of just, and then this happened, and then I just lost complete control because I thought things were funny. I'm very generally, yeah, I'll have 5 or 6 every single night, like a responsible.
It's fucking dangerous. It's literally like Jeopardy. Like I'm putting myself, my body.
Why do you think you drink like that? Like, is it unhappiness? Are you running away from something? Are you
Probably.
chasing something?
Probably just trying to, or just drinking is fun and it's unpredictable and it's just crazy and chaos.
You like the unpredictability.
Yeah. I think that's why I like getting high too.
Is it because you grew up in a very straight-laced, like...
It has to be. I'm not sure though.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the things that I've been doing throughout as a late bloomer and in between my 30s, leaving the church, getting married and divorced, whether it's booze, whether it's weed, whether it's psychedelics, and now trying to do comedy and more creative, expressive stuff as opposed to like me being used to or trying to follow the straight-laced CPA, accounting, whatever kind of trajectory. Yeah, it is like chaos and unpredictability about it. Like for me, it's like I get a kick out of that. You know, I have so much more fun like sharing stupid jokes with comics, whatever it is, or just people who are just like thinking differently, or just being drunk at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in some bar in the city, just laughing at the dumbest things, right? And that to me is much more precious than like any kind of career, promotion, business, whatever. Yeah, I mean that's cool too, but for me, I love a dumb dick joke than something like that.
I love a good hang.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
A good chill session.
Like a good 4 hours. We're just, sipping.
Yeah.
Sipping on a stoop. That's I grew up in the wrong era.
Yeah.
If I grew up in the 50s where you could just have a 40 on the stoop, that would be where I'd park my ass every single day.
Yeah.
For about 3 or 4 years.
And that's a uniquely New York City, mostly Brooklyn experience.
That's my energy. That's Harlem too.
Harlem,
Uptown.
Brooklyn. Yeah. That's not like me starting drinking in LA, K-Town mostly, and then picking most of that in New York mostly.
Are you a club guy?
I'm not a club guy.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I tried to be, but I wasn't.
Runners often aren't club guys.
That's an interesting observation. Runners are not into clubbing.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never would have thought
I don't know why it's true, but it is.
Yeah.
I came up with that right now, by the way. That's not like a bit that I've had. Like literally, I'm like, no.
Runners at most they'd probably be into Irish pubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter what cultural
it's because
identity.
they're always standing because they're running, so they just want to sit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like with drinking though, like as I'm getting older, like I definitely
there's a lot of thigh.
What?
I'm showing a lot of thigh on this.
we gotta show some skin. It can't be me.
Oh, hello.
Oh, there you go. That's a nice lack of tan right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my mine's much lighter than that. Ask me some questions.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So, where'd you go to college?
I first started at USC, and then I dropped out and finished at Cal State LA.
Okay. And then what did you major in there?
Cal State LA, economics.
And is that how you ended up in LA?
Going to school there? Yep.
And then you just didn't leave for a while?
I graduated high school in the SF Bay area. Shout out to Union City, East Bay.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know East Bay. My
and,
cousin lives there.
What's that?
One of my cousins lives
There
there.
you go. And it's East Bay, the string of little suburban areas. It's just so suburban and so ghetto at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like deceivingly ghetto. And then I got into USC, and I was there for a few years, but I have like this thing against big traditional institutions, whether it's like academia or corporations or church or even marriage.
Yeah.
I want to be good at it because I want to be part of the crowd, but I'm really not made for it. So I was at USC for 3 years, but basically I didn't really study for the last 2 of it. Eventually I got myself to muster up the courage to drop out. What was a leave of absence still, technically. I dropped out.
Oh, so you could go back?
Yeah, just leaving that back door open just in case. But I dropped out, just picked up menial jobs like being a waiter and stuff like that, just trying to find myself while working at a sushi restaurant. But those were good times. Eventually, I got a job.
Did you find yourself?
A little bit, yeah. Live, love, laugh, right? And eventually, I found myself at a clerical job in an insurance brokerage. 3 months into that clerical job, a lot of good things were happening. I got myself back into Cal State school, Cal State LA. I got accepted. And then they also said like, hey, do you enjoy doing this insurance paperwork, clerical stuff? Or would you want to make a horizontal switch to accounting? Because the girl who's doing accounting wants to do your job. I was like, okay, sure, let's figure that out. And then turns out like I had a knack for it. So
That's like kind of my story for accounting too.
yeah.
I was dating a girl that was like doing accounting stuff. I was like working some dog shit, like admin stuff. I think I was an ebook manager. So I was managing passwords and usernames for a bunch of high schools and like middle schools and elementary schools, like their ebooks. So like Pearson and Scholastic and, McGraw and
McGraw, that's
McGraw-Hill.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard that in so long.
I'm surprised I got the pull.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, kudos to you, man.
rule of threes.
Power to you, yeah.
And then the girl I was dating was like kind of doing accounting stuff for this people. And she was like, I bet you could do it. My boss knows somebody that's looking for somebody just to start right away. And then I did it. And I was like a fish to water. And I was like, God damn it. The Asian stereotype is true.
Yeah.
Because I got the job with no resume. It
Yeah.
was just, I've used Excel before.
Yeah.
But they were like, can you learn on the job? And I did. And I was really good at it. And I did
Yeah.
that for the last 2 years.
Even to this day, I still curse myself. I'm just like because I'm trying to like create content and YouTube videos to help build my freelance business and all that. And I'm just like figuring things out as I'm going along. I'm just like, damn it, why am I good at this? I don't want to be good at this.
Oh,
It's so weird. Why is it that Asians are good at math and businessy related stuff? Or like maybe math and sciences in general? Besides like the push for like as far as like Korea goes, Koreans for like generation after generation, Koreans used to have this civil servant test.
okay.
Where basically and this is like back in the days, like hundreds of years ago. So they used to have the civil servant test where it's basically the only thing socially and culturally where you could be really poor, but if you pass this test, then you're the man, you're made,
You get pushed up.
Yeah, you and your family are set for life. So everyone.
You notice that's not in America,
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
right?
Yeah,
China, it's the same thing, right? It's like they have
something like that.
they have like some
tests
tests where if you do really well, you can move up to like.
I also hear from my
good
dad. My
universities.
dad travels to China every now and then, and he was telling me how, like, what they have these days is the Communist Party. It's a Chinese Communist Party where you become a party, the Communist Party member. Then you're basically, it's not like a job or anything, but it's like basically a certificate,
Yeah.
and it's immense power. Like people are afraid of you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But people, of course that's very selective, and you have to pass a test, pass an interview, and all that. It takes a while to get into it. But yeah, why is it like we're such test-centered people, you know? Like it's such an interesting way to be as a society and culture.
I mean, what's the alternative? When you have a billion people, you need some way to
Some kind of
separate
hierarchy.
the wheat
Yeah.
from the chaff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's the basis of tests.
Yeah.
I mean, like in America, what do they have?
Yeah.
You've got the SAT. It's like kind of test based, but it's like this ephemeral, like, you know, clubs and
Yeah.
you know, personality and who your parents are.
Yeah.
Like there's no merit system in America.
Yeah.
It's like generally like well, we hope one of you will get in. Like we have like, you know, the Ivy League schools, but like it's like an elitist institution.
Yeah.
I also think just I don't know about you, but for me, I always understood math
Huh.
because there were rules, and I like you know, English and stuff. It would vary, but like math always makes sense.
You're kind of similar to me in the sense that we both have both our left and right brains like pretty active.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Hmm. Maybe I'm one of your long lost brothers.
Oh my God!
What
You don't
would-
have
what-
a weird Russian name.
What
so
would
no.
be what would be my weird Russian name? Give me a weird Russian name.
God.
All I can think of is Boris. Most
I want to
common.
do like Tomovlaska.
Ah,
Tovlaska.
Tovlaska.
Oh God. Did you well, how many years did you spend in America in your formative years?
From
From like till you went to puberty.
like pre-puberty.
Yeah.
Like
Because it sounded like you were like in Korea for like 6 years.
I first came to the US when I was 4. I went back when I was like 9 or 10.
Okay.
Then I was there from age 10 to age 16. Then I came back when I was 16.
For the last couple of years of high school.
Yeah.
Did you, because I'm always curious about this when I meet older Asian people.
Uh-huh.
Did you notice the representation thing? Is that like a thing that's always been like a lack of representation in media?
It's all definitely in the media. Definitely in the media.
No, but was it something like you and other Asian people would talk about? Like, was that like, did that matter to you guys?
We didn't know how to talk about it.
Okay.
We just knew that, holy shit, Karate Kid, this is a thing, you know?
So the absence was notable so that
Yeah.
when you did see it, you're like, wow, this is crazy.
We just knew, we barely, even up to like early 2000s, we knew what's good, we knew what's bad. Like, but we didn't go deep into it because there was really no context to get it. Like I would bring up a certain character, a certain celebrity, a persona to people of various age range, whether they're closer to me, they would definitely get it. But William Hung, do you know who this is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everyone knows William Hung.
She bangs, she bangs.
Oh, Jesus,
Baby,
man.
and she moves, she moves.
It was so funny, but so just so bad. Cause like that's we basically it's him and Jackie Chan. That's all we had in the U.S.
Yeah.
and during that time, during that window, early 2000s. But it's like there was no. It was bad, but it's like how else could it be not bad? Because you know, like I remember the biggest, the most popular radio talk show host was Big Boy in the mornings in LA.
Okay.
And his shtick was, you know, just making fun of Asians, you know, and just like prank calling people, pretending he's just like Chinese guy, just horrible, horrible, ching chong ching, that kind of shit. But that's what he was known for, you know.
Yeah.
And but it's just like, yeah, but of course it's bad, but it's like we're kind of allowing it. We don't fight back. You know, there was like a good, like, even up till like the early 2010s, Angry Asian Man was the only Asian voice that was like
Saying
consistently picking out things. There was websites and Twitters and blogs, but Angry Asian Man for a long stretch, too long to say, he was the only Asian person who was like rightfully so picking out things that non-Asian people were doing that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
I was like, and to a point where I was being educated. Holy shit, that is fucked up. You know? But it's like I kind of am like I'm a little fluid in the sense that sometimes like we're asking for we're not fighting back or sometimes like it's easy to get caught up into it emotionally. Like these days now, I'm make fun of like woke Asians. You know, it's just like,
Yeah, you've come full circle.
yeah. I'm such a snake
Yeah.
I'm such a Kevin Durant because it's like I will flip sides, whatever it takes, just to like be like have a
Just
point.
to feel like you
You
mean
know,
something.
yeah, that's what they do with like. I remember I took a AP Psych class in high school, and we're gonna have a debate in this class. And okay, so anyone who wants to be a lawyer, all right, which one do you think? Okay, you're gonna have to be on the other side because that's gonna help you practice. That always stayed with me. It's just like intellectually try to be on the other side.
Yeah.
Like if you naturally lean one side, play the other side, see how that works out. You know,
Yeah.
kind of helps out with writing jokes too. But yeah, it's woke Asians. Like I see like college girls in Seoul like lifting up signs BLM, BLM. I'm like, that's the cutest, most fucked up thing there is. It's just,
Why?
South Korea has a lot of social issues that they don't want to talk about to a point where it's
Okay.
human rights issues. Like they have a huge elderly homeless population where they're not
Okay.
talking about it.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. It's not being addressed in the media. I'm like, it's your people, it's your grandparents, but they don't want to talk about it. You know?
And you're equivocating the Asian girls that are like Black Lives Matter, but your old Asian people don't matter.
Yeah, I'm
It's
just
like,
saying.
why do you care about
I'm
Black
just saying
lives
you
when
guys are
care
just
about
getting on the
problems in your home?
bandwagon of
Yeah.
what's trendy and global, but not really taking an honest look at your own. Like it's not even like issues; it's like almost human rights issues. You know, that's pretty messed up. That's pretty hypocritical. That you guys are worried about issues that's not relevant to your culture, your society. But you just want to have a good.
But they live in America.
No, these are people in Korea.
Oh, just people in Korea
Yeah,
wearing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a little different. It's I give it a pass for Asians here who want to be supporters and allies and all that.
Yeah, it's,
you know?
it's our neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. But I was talking to a friend. He's just like Asian dude. He's a bigger guy. He's just he's my boy. But he joined the protest.
You know what? You're old enough where I could think it's actually just your son.
What's that?
Oh, that's my boy. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, does Tommy have a kid now?
Yeah. It's, yeah, Tommy Jr. He's my
TJ?
boy. Yeah, Tommy Jr. He's like he's 22. I had him when I was in high school. But yeah, my boy. He said that he joined the protest and it became very violent to a point where they're smashing a NYPD car, and he just joined in on it. I was like, "Why'd you join in?" He's like, "It was fun."
Huh.
It's like him, a couple of white guys, a couple of black guys are just like getting whatever they could to just smash in a cop car. It's like, that's not cool, but I probably would have done the same thing if I was there.
Really?
Mob mentality. If you're in a situation, I completely give into that. But if you're in a situation, what the entire group does, you'll probably end up doing it too.
See, I was never. I went to a couple of the protests, and I never got involved with the pushing or shoving or stuff. But I was just standing in solidarity.
Yeah.
Um,
How'd you feel? Because I just seen a protest. I just seen a walk go through in front of my house once. But that's about it.
at the beginning, it was hopeful that we could actually create some change.
Nice.
I was part of one of the groups that got pincered on the bridge.
Which bridge?
On
the Brooklyn Bridge?
Manhattan Bridge.
Okay. By whom?
The police.
By police?
Yeah, both sides.
Wow.
We were stuck on the bridge
Pincered,
for about an
yeah.
hour. Yeah.
Wow. What were they trying to do though? Just trying to contain you guys? Just trying to calm you guys down or what?
No, they were just trying to make us mad.
Oh my god.
Like that's the thing. I was there because I wanted to help, and I didn't know what else I could do but be a body.
Yeah.
So if I could help push my body towards the cause,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I've not been since June, so I feel bad about that because I think it's still happening. The media just stopped covering it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that I just didn't want to be on the side of something when tell my grandkids, I saw everything that was happening, but it wasn't important enough for me to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you want to be at Game 7. You want to be at like the parts of history where you can help out, and I want to be on the right side. You know, I didn't want to explain to these imaginary. I'm not even in a relationship. I don't know why I'm worrying about grandkids I'm talking to, but yeah, it's just like, you know, at the end of the day, who's the person that I want to look back at and what did I do.
But it's you're basically it's your own conscious. You're like this. It's gonna weigh on me. It's gonna bother me if I don't do anything.
It would bother me if I didn't do anything.
Yeah, and you have to act on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to show up.
yeah. What anything unexpected that you saw or happened or you felt during these protests?
I mean, I don't understand why there's such an image of it being so violent, because a majority of protests are nonviolent.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? It's a very funny parallel to how a majority of police supposedly are good police.
That's such a good argument.
And so it's so funny on both sides to hear the same argument. It's like, yeah, but you don't care about these, but look at all these ones that are doing good.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a very circular logic, which as a comedian, you have to just be like, how do both of you not understand? You guys are saying the same thing. But I think the difference is one is government funded and the other is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that Twitter sketch? I think the guy's name is Ryan Long or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was him and a buddy of his, and one was right, one was left.
Yeah.
And they just had the same conclusions, but very different opinions, very different approach. But they're both racist in a way. They were both like completely generalizing people. They were just like, but then.
Well, I think that it was very funny.
It was very funny. It was very well
funny.
done.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
I will say that I think the reason why the left wasn't like so mad about it is because we know those hypocrites. So there is an idea that the people on the right believe this stuff and people on the left say this. There are people on the left that say this type of stuff without realizing that they're being also an asshole. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
well, let's just come out with it. Anyone who doesn't realize that there's a possibility that they could be an asshole for expressing certain opinions, like they are, like that's just like, come on, dude. You know, like with great opinion comes great asshole possibility. You know, like
that is terrible. Tommy, I've known you for 2 hours and I'm comfortable enough to be like,
I could do better. I could do better.
With great asshole power comes great asshole responsibility. All right.
I brought shame to the dojo. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Is this the dojo? Should you call this
it's my dojo.
The gym?
I like when really surfer white people try to say Asian words. Dojo. I took French in high school, and French is such a fun language in terms of linguistics because you truly understand how fucked up American English is, because French vowels are a, I, u, o, u. It's very short and very consistent throughout. You say an American vowel, it's completely different. A, o, u. It's all over the place. It's all over the place.
I'm just impressed you have a take on different languages.
Yeah.
That's a...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got a few tricks under
I learned a little bit of French, and I did not have a single takeaway.
Yeah, I have a few tricks. I think too much. But
Do you think so?
I think enough. I think enough. Not too much as.
So why do you pitch it as you think too much?
It's just easy. It's just like a filler.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was like a thing you believed or that was just like a turn of phrase.
I want to try to stop using fillers. Yeah. I want to come up with maybe just comedically or just for fun with friends or if I'm performing. I want to stop saying filler or knee-jerk reaction things.
Yeah, because actually I love that, because otherwise it feels like the conversation is just pressing A and B. You want to create new pathways for it.
Yeah, a different, like a C option, or just like not even that, you know?
I was dating a girl that would finish my sentences, and so it made me try to think of ways to trick her. Go, you
so
thought I was going to say this? And then I would just go off in a different tangent, in a different direction. That was a really fun game.
You should be like play a game with yourself at whenever she does that, bring in something horrible, like it's either rape or abortion.
No. This is why marriage didn't work for you, because You're like, let's make it fun. Let's bring
You
up
think?
rape or abortion.
Misha, you think? You think?
I know. Okay, this is. Speaking of filler, this is great filler. Just commenting upon the situation, bringing self-awareness.
I'm becoming George Costanza in the sense that, like, now I have podcasts and I hang out, have a lot of fun, having fun with you and other guests. And I'm becoming George Costanza in the sense like, oh, I could have said that thing. It would have been so much funnier. I'm just kicking myself like afterwards. And it's just like kind of like, oh, it's just like it's like some leftover dish in the fridge that's just getting staler and staler. I just have to like, I don't know what to do. I don't know.
No, you should have that.
You should have that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because podcasts are games. Like this is going on the internet. It's game time.
Yeah.
Conversations are practice for games.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got to bring it, and you should look at your game tape and go, "Oh, this is what I could have done better. This
That's a
is
good point.
how to improve myself." Because if you want to be the best, you got to have some, self-awareness about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're my videotape room coach.
Yeah, I absolutely think you should
Yeah.
listen back.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then are you trying to get better?
Yeah. Do you have anybody in your social circle who are approaching you and be like, hey, how do I become a comic?
No.
No. You know,
Because I bitch about it too much. They see what the lifestyle is and like, I don't want to be that poor. That seems terrible.
do you have people who've like, well, you've started it since you were young, so I don't think people will come up to you and be like, why do you do that? You know, why are you doing what you're doing? Or am I wrong?
Not anymore.
Hmm.
I do think that a lot of people thought it would be a phase for a while. And I don't know. For me, comedy is I've always lived my life trying to do the stuff that I want to do and do the stuff that I'm always trying to pursue happiness. It's not comedy specifically. Comedy just has provided me the most happiness over the last year, so I keep doing it. I wanted to kill myself when I was 16 or 15 or 16.
Wow.
That was probably the first time. And I had to tell myself, okay, Misha, you're sad right now, but you've also not lived on your own. You've not been able to pursue the path you want to pursue. So you still feel like this way when you turn 40, then you can kill yourself. And giving myself that deadline sort of allowed me to open up.
Thank you for saying 40. Okay, continue.
Yeah. No, I know. If I was your age, I would have killed myself. I was like, at 38, I would have started sending my letters. It's like, hey, you remember that joke I had? It's not a joke anymore. Come see me if you want.
That's why I live by myself. It's much easier cleanup for everyone involved.
Yeah, just like but I was like, and at 38, if it's still really bad, I'll do a friendship tour.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got one last chance. Because one of the things I learned
A
about
friendship
suicide-
tour.
Yeah.
Holy shit, you thought this through?
Oh my God. Yeah, of course.
Fucking A.
Well, because I would read about suicide and people were like, I had no idea,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. It was
Yeah.
so selfish. It's like, well, bitch, I gave you a year.
Yeah.
I gave you, if you wanted to see me that badly, you
Yeah.
could have made the time.
Yeah.
If not, then obviously it didn't mean that much to you. So, just like, it's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that when I was 15, and but it really opened up for me though, because I no longer had these pressures of what I'm going to do when I get old, like all that stuff. It's like, if you're not happy, you don't have to live. And that let me pursue the stuff that did make me happy.
Yeah.
So I did stand up. I, drank. I, explored all of the parts of life that I was like, maybe I can find something worth living for. And comedy has provided it for a long period of time for me. But if I found something else brought me happiness and it wasn't comedy anymore, I'd do that, because I love comedy. I'm not married to it.
Yeah.
And you have one life to live. So
Yeah.
don't waste it doing the stuff that makes you unhappy.
Nice.
I also feel no responsibility towards the world in this point of view.
No obligation.
No
right?
obligation. Just don't try to fuck it up too much.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
What are some, like, I was talking to some other comics. My like midterm or low hanging fruit kind of like mid tier goal, not like a lofty goal. Fuck lofty goals, but like my kind of like a low to mid tier goal is to be, in terms of comedy, I would love to be a comic on a Carnival cruise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. That's probably where I the first time I saw live comedy on a
It's
Carnival
because you
cruise.
look like everyone that gambles on that cruise. So
and just loses
Yeah,
everything.
you look like
Just
you would gamble away
on that
your
digital
entire
card. I
paycheck.
lost $1,000 on my digital. Fuck this
Hilarious.
trip. Fuck this trip. Anyways, that's it's the first time I saw live comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to look up the comic who was performing there. He was just performing his bits, and it was just, it was great. He had his 15-minute set, which is like part of the whole show. Then you can have the pay for the actual show, rated R and everything. But he has a whole hour there. And I thought like the material he was doing and just thinking about it just stayed with me. It just stayed with me.
Do you know his name?
I don't know his name. I know some of his bits. Like some of the bits were like every Tom Cruise movie is the same movie. Like every plot
Okay.
line is just like, so he goes over in Days of Thunder
God,
and
I
Cat
think
Far
I know
Away.
this comic, but
like
I can't
and it was
off
just
the
so
top of my
good.
head.
It was that was, and then he opens up with like like jokes about like the rooms and specific to the cruise.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. It was good stuff. It's
Local
like,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like did you test the toilets yet? The toilets are so strong. I pushed the toilet, it came out on top. It's just something silly like that.
Yeah.
But it stayed with me because I was just like, wow, this guy is on a boat and on a ship, and he does comedy. He makes people laugh. He's obviously having a good time, or it looks like it. And yeah, he does this X amount of time of percentage of the year and whatever. And I'm like, wow, I wonder what that's like, And that just stayed with me. That's just what I keep saying. It's like that's my goal. But of course, comedy clubs and cruises and shows have to come back. So not until then, I guess.
I'd love to open on a theater tour.
Yeah.
Be an opener
Opener for a theater.
for a theater tour.
Yeah.
So like a comic brings me on the road, and I do like 30 different dates.
Uh-huh.
That's like kind of like that would be the
Nice.
next part where I was like, oh,
Nice.
yeah.
I recently, but before this whole, shutdown happened, I was trying to make it a regular thing that I would go see. I mean, we're in New York City, try to go see live comedy. So I went to Broadway Comedy Club and Caroline's. It was fantastic. It was
Yeah.
great. I had a blast. Just went by myself. I think they were both weekend Friday or Saturday nights, and yeah, it was.
Who'd you see at Caroline's?
I'm not good with names. But at Caroline's, I did see someone that I saw at a open mic. His open mic was okay. It wasn't that great, but once I saw his actual finished stuff, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. of
There's
course,
a reason why
everybody-
they're at an open mic.
Yeah.
They're working on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. But for me to experience that,
Yeah.
it was different because it's just like I was like, I know that guy,
It's like an NBA player at
Yeah.
a pickup game.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
there to work on something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the pickup game, they're just there to mess around.
Yeah, just to have fun.
Yeah, sure. And what was funny though was there's a whole I'm curious about the whole thing, not just stand-up comedy, but the production of it too. Because I noticed at Broadway that they actually had because like each person there was a headliner, but the headliner got maybe like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Everyone else got like 5 to 10 minutes, and they actually had an anchor, the last guy, like a real anchor in a track relay team. This anchor was just high energy, yelling at the top of his lungs, and a slightly older dude, just raunchy as fuck, and all of us in the room in the club just had a hard time signing our tabs as he was making all these jokes, like just sex jokes, dick jokes, everything, and you were just like we all just were like we were like our abs, all of us were on fire, and I just threw me off. I loved it so much. I was like, that guy is meant to go last.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That's crazy for me to learn that, experience that.
Yeah, I mean that's like the old school. Just like setup of a show.
Yeah.
Broadway is a typical
Yeah.
showcase style, so you have like 5
Interesting.
to 6 comics doing 7 to 10 each.
Yeah.
and then banger at the end.
Yeah.
And he closes out, and then that's
Yeah.
everyone churn and turn, and then they do the next show after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Who's any of your favorites? Anything interesting that you've seen, like someone performing live? Any interesting observations?
Oh God, I don't even know what type of question that is.
Yeah, that's not really a question. I just want you to talk.
You want me to talk about shows I've been to?
Shows that you've been to, shows that you're a part of.
I mean, so have you done a lot of shows?
No.
Okay.
I'm barely an open marker.
Okay.
I'm now being known as
A
like
podcast
a podcast who brings its own comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm probably like a weird show I did was I had a female heckler tell me to take my shirt off. Show us your tits. Show us your tits. She was just-
Okay, let's set this up right. Was that right after a certain joke or
No,
just
as soon
after
as
that?
I got on stage.
As soon as you got on stage.
She was just like,
Kinda-
"Show me your tits," and it was
very
a
funny.
bit. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a bit because she was like, "I just wanted to see what it was like on the other side." I wanted male comics to understand what it's like to be a woman.
Did she actually fling this?
Yeah, she said after the show. I was just like,
after the show.
Yeah, after the show.
Okay.
I was talking to her, and I was just like, "Look, if you guys are good, I'll show you I'll lift up my shirt at the end." Because I did have a joke, just like where I used to lift my shirt up.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
about
convenient.
how I have the body hair of a Ken doll and the face of the child that made it.
Woo!
Yeah, it's a really good joke.
Woo!
So then I would lift up the shirt. I have the body hair of a Ken doll, and then the face of the child that made it. And I was like,
Yeah, you're already in the dark side. I don't need to bring you there.
yeah. So that was like a weird show I did. Oh, you know what? Here's a fun story. I've tried to figure out how to make this a bit on it, like just as in stand up, but I haven't been able to figure it out. But this is like a fun story. I was at V Spot. You know V Spot, right? It's in the Village, sort of like the Lower East Side, sort of on
I'm drawing a
8th.
blank.
It's a vegan restaurant in the back room. Alex Carbano, he's a comic. He just did HBO, like a 15 minutes on HBO. Won some competition right before quarantine started. But he has a room, and in the back, it's
How big is that room? Like 20, 30, 50?
it could fit like 30, 40 people.
Yeah.
Every show I've done there has been rough. There's either an audience and they're bad, or there's no audience and they're bad. Like, it's one of those. I've never had fun there. And this show started off so terribly. The host at one point, like, the host bombs, the first two comics bomb. Third comic does okay for about 15 seconds and then continues to bomb. The host, before bringing me up, goes, "Guys, we're going to figure out what you guys like. Or we won't. I don't know. It's a free show. We just," you know, when the host gives up, you're just like, "Oh, no, this is."
It's like LeBron giving up in the third quarter in the playoffs when
It
he's
was
playing
like
for the
the
Cavs.
Clippers.
Like,
It was like the Clippers.
it was like the
last
Clippers.
night.
There you go.
Just Paul George hitting the backboard. Just
Clank.
It was a train wreck. They bring me on as Misha Barton and go, "Oh, wait, I messed up the name." You know how fun comedy starts. And I go on stage.
What a fun night.
And I riff off of it,
Yeah.
and it kind of gets the room on board.
Okay,
It's like,
okay.
Misha Barton, I know. She's gone through some changes.
Yeah.
She's had a couple of rough years. I bet you guys didn't know she turned Asian too.
Yeah.
Like that, you know,
Yeah.
just like, and I'm kind of getting the crowd. I, you know, hit him with the A shit, you know, just like strong, short jokes, something with no attention span, and just like trying to create some momentum. I'm getting a little momentum, and then all of a sudden, I just lose the entire crowd. And I'm confused, and then I notice there's this creepy looking dude that walked into the room, and so I call him out and I go, "Are you guys just being weird? Because this pedophile walked into the room." And this is apparently the type of comedy they were here to see, because it destroyed.
Yes.
It is not often where you bring up pedophilia and the room of the mood increases and gets better. But this is one of those times where it did.
Yes.
Everyone looks at him and they know exactly.
So,
This dude,
because the dude came in. Okay, so describe the dude.
balding, striped t-shirt, looked like a mime that was on his off day. Like, it was, he didn't have any other changes of clothes. There was no white face, like no lipstick. This dude just looked like a creep. And I just like make fun of him, and then I tell jokes, and then he's like, why did you? And it's like, it's just a joke, whatever. I get off stage, and he follows me out of the room.
Okay.
And he goes, so I was just in there, and I'm just like, yeah, I know. And he goes, and you called me a pedophile. Why'd you call me a pedophile? I was like, hey man, it's just a joke. It's a comedy show. I'm just kidding. And I just need something to make the crowd laugh. And he goes, yeah, I didn't think it was very funny. And I go, yeah, I understand that. 'Cause, I'm an empathetic person. It's like if somebody walked in a room and they called me a pedophile, I don't think I'd find it very funny either. And he goes, yeah, but I don't understand. When you called me a pedophile, everybody laughed. If I were to call you a pedophile, I don't think anybody would laugh. Why did everybody laugh when you called me a pedophile?
It's a very thoughtful creep. It's a very observant creep.
I was just like, because what I wanted to say there was it's buy a mirror. You look like the only person in this room to have a Netflix special about him because you committed a crime. Like this dude. And then what I said was, hey man, it's a comedy show.
Aww.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be.
Of course. You have to be psychotic to be that honest to someone, to a stranger who's
I know.
like
So I just
obviously
tell this story
wounded.
on podcasts in public on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably
A mirror.
buy a mirror, dude. This dude.
I find that story so like it draws me in because he was unintentionally bringing up the essence of comedy. He was like, why was it funny? Why did people laugh? First of all, he realized that people laughed. He wasn't stuck on that you called him a pedophile in front of other people.
Yeah.
But he was rightfully so stuck on that people laughed. And also, he went on his own little bit there. Like he said, but if I were to change that and do that to you, they wouldn't laugh. So I feel like he's getting there. He could actually either realize he does look like a creep. Maybe he'll become a comic. Maybe both, or maybe nothing will happen.
I don't think anything will happen out of that.
I'm being hopeful.
This dude was very European.
What is up with your parents and not being self-aware, not being up with the times?
Well, they don't think they're racist, so.
A lot of Europeans, a lot of Asians for that matter too, they don't think they're a lot of people. Why is it that a lot of Europeans and Asians both don't think that they're racist?
Because they don't have to interact with other people. The reason why Americans know they're racist is because there's
we all
enough
have
of
to
us
get along.
to talk.
There's a lot of different people in this area, and we have to get along.
Yeah, you can't go a block without, me. But that's also why, like in some places in the country, they don't know they're racist is because they don't interact.
Yeah.
So
there's so many stories of like, I have like a kind of a fetish with military. It's just a fascination, I guess, not a fetish. But
I was gonna say you're trying to fuck a base.
Maybe if you can try this colonel suit I have on. But yeah, it's like I would hear GIs talking about like how they went to boot camp. The Asian dudes, right? It would go to boot camp, and it's like in Fort Benning, Georgia, whatever. Just so out of nowhere, and they would catch all these, like they're all shaved head, they're all just like starting out and all that, and they would catch like white dudes just blatantly, just shamelessly staring at them.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, what's up, dude? He's like, oh, I never met an Asian before.
Yeah.
It's just like they're both realizing how they're coming from different worlds, and it could be racist, but it's just ignorance or lack of life experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you're told,
is it a matter of just being told,
the insistence on no, I'm not racist.
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, we're telling you something and you not listening to us is the problem. You know what I mean? I'm all for giving people a chance.
Yeah.
But if they're willfully just being obtuse, it's kind of just like, well, you're not trying.
Yeah.
You just want to be right, and you don't want any type of feedback.
That's a good point. Let's bring this to a nice landing, Misha.
Okay.
Give us some I always want my guests to leave us with some concluding remarks.
Oh God.
Whatever it is, to your heart's
I
content.
really should have watched an episode all the way through, so I'd have something to prepare.
No one's prepared.
This
man.
is what I get
No
for
one's-
not being a good Asian, like art and studying for the test.
Oh, that guy started really hard. He
Yeah.
was putting me on the hot seat, asking me all these questions. Like, holy shit, you know that. Okay, it was kind of creepy. Art, you're kind of creepy. Anyways,
Hilarious. Well, he's not going to watch this.
he's not gonna watch. Not at the end.
So somebody has to tag him in this episode and get, hey, we talk about you multiple
although,
times.
Although I realized for more production value, I realized I had to timestamp and the context and chapter it on YouTube. That seems to help out a lot. So who knows? I might tag Art in this clip here.
Okay.
We'll see.
Get him in.
Yeah, but give us some concluding remarks.
Oh, God. I don't even know.
Whatever it is on your hand, on your hand. I just saw you look in your hand. Whatever is on your mind these days, whatever it is.